back in the grave that he crawled out of.
Matthew just pinged the high ground. He's like, there's a ward somewhere. I placed down sentry, but couldn't find it.
These boxy wards just doing so much for Team Liquid. The vision around the map is pretty good for them and great farming locations that EG have been utilizing. So it's now a 10,000 net worth lead. We haven't really seen a 5-on-5 fight. It's just been pickoffs for Liquid all over the map. While that's been going on, because he's farming, it's going into the MKB. He's got the Silver Edge we talked about, but I don't know if it's going to be enough anymore. The deficit's becoming too much.
He still packs a punch. Like, Sven is almost at his peak at the moment. You can purchase a shard. I think that's a big upgrade. Like, we've seen some of the Svens, like even in the TI qualifiers, especially level up, they love to pick up this shard on Sven early on just to be able to play around the team. Most of the damage on side of Liquid is physical. All three cores, like even a Vengeful Spirit with this Aghanim Scepter. I don't think we've seen Insania dying, to be honest, while he had Aghanim Scepter. Usually what you want to do once you pick it up is just run at people. They've been running at people. The problem is he's way too tanky and he's not dying.
The shard that we saw from level up to Hawk was always early from him too. He was never afraid to purchase that shard, knowing that if you're sitting at top of the net worth, the odds of you getting it from the Tormentor are pretty slim to none. Midas for the Doom. He's going into the BKB. He's got 3,000 gold going his way, and now Pakaz queuing up Nullifier, queuing up MKB. He's trying to figure out what he wants.
Sold Mask of Madness, bought Assault Curia, so that's going to be some extra armor for the team.
Like he's on high ground.
Minute and 20 left of that Aegis.
Oh, they've got Insania with the Wave of Terror. Now they've got Zai going in with a Hairball. Use these drums, Rod of Atos. That's the control from Boxy needed to try and get a kill, and they will on a Matthew.
Boxy has been setting things up for Team Liquid in both of these games, especially in the second game. They're still not done. Zai on top of the high ground with the Lotus Orb on him. Pakaz needs to find the right angle. He might go for the backstab.
Structures are fortified.
Needs to find his moment. He does have that shard queued up now, what we were talking about. So they back away. They know there's not a lot of time left on this Aegis. Still 38 seconds though. Maybe could have stayed for a little bit longer. Just don't want to give anything up for free.
Team Liquid is out farming them right now. Boxy, he TPs on a different side of the map, uses Wrath of Nature. Uses this Sprout to get the farm, Treants stacking the camps as well with it. So doing pretty much everything that he can. And of course, EG slightly too afraid to leave. They might go for a smoke once they push out the waves because they want to use this Sven, because Sven is super strong right now. Silver Edge, we haven't seen Bristleback being broken yet, I believe. There's also another Tormentor available. Zai's going to take care of the business.
Not as cool as the 5 Courier Dazzle Tormentor take.
Still very cool.
But yeah, cool nonetheless. That's my favorite way to take Tormentor now.
Box is like, yeah, I'm helping. So Nisha gets it. And on the other side, C-Smile gets one. So we'll have that Blink Silence and also Gale Force. Not as strong as it was when, you know, it was global ability, but it's still very good. Keeping them in place, set up for a Shackle, and also for potential Bristleback. Just those Quill Sprays, keeping them in place, so CK can deal damage as well. Got that level 20 talent, Quill Spray damage, so that's going to be pretty massive. Sven did pick up the shard, understands that he needs to buy all of the items that he can right now. No point to save for buyback. Sven, not that type of a hero, because he's relying on his ulti to deal as much damage as possible. Let's see if they can find someone else. Again, providing vision. This is going to catch Pakaz's bottom.
Nisha with this Ags. Just gets the
Blink Dagger's getting
there
canceled.
It is. Yeah, they go. They land that Shackle.
Beautiful execution.
No buyback.
Swap into Hex from Boxy, into Shackle.
Whoa.
And we talked about like no buyback, but if he's outside of the base, this game is pretty similar to the game number 1 where they didn't have buyback available and the game just ended pretty much. Let's see how much damage they can deal in 70 seconds. No Treant Protector on EG this time, so all damage that they deal is not going to be healed.
Can clean up this creep wave pretty quickly, but backdoor not activated just yet. They're a little bit hesitant, not knowing whether or not Sven's got that buyback, but taking the tier 3 and no buyback yet, it's giving them that little bit of a hint that, hey, maybe he just doesn't have it. We can go for it and commit. The backdoor finally kicks in.
They can still go through the backdoor protection and kill it.
They've got creeps coming over. That'll be gone in just a second, and there it is. So it's at least one set of racks here for the side of Liquid. Extending that net worth lead to 21,000, and still another 30 seconds. They've got themselves a swap at the Hex
combo.
It's so smooth, it's so clean, it's so fluid. Liquid just make it look so easy sometimes.
This might be the game, like, because 20 seconds, these are long 20 seconds, and again, they caught Whisper. 4 seconds
four
stun.
seconds stun. He's just trying to get back into it as well.
Oh, he snipes him.
Oh my gosh, gets him with the power shot. Mickey with the tip.
Radiant's top barracks are under attack.
And that's it, they're playing against Mega Creeps. No Queen of Pain. Whisper does have buyback available. Pakaz needs to deal some heavy damage right now. They have one chance. If they miss this chance, they're going to be starting in lower bracket.
Not looking good. Whisper's got buyback, holding it for now. The tier 4 is low. And now, again, just having Nisha using that focus fire, cleaning up these towers, leaving the throne exposed. They've got the swap into the Hex. And now the Reality Rip, they go to the Soulbind. Is it going to be enough with the Pakaz coming in with a BKB? Does he have the damage? He will. He takes out Zai. He takes out Insania, who looks over at the illusion of Insania that he left behind.
Throne is exposed.
Swap once more onto the Grimstroke. They're focusing the throne for the moment. Panda's going to fall. He's got buyback. Pops back into the fight. Nick working on these smaller buildings while Zai's got himself the Lotus Orb. He bought back and came back into the base immediately. C-Smile getting low. Focus fire once again. Supernova's going to be used here by Whisper. They look over at Mickey. They've got the BKB. They're chasing the CK back. Because with the Silver Edge, maybe he can go after Zai. He breaks him. He just bought back, but they've got the control. They have the Sprout. Nisha with the BKB as well as the Gale Force pushing these heroes on the side of EG back. Icarus dive all the way over, but he doesn't have a Supernova to work with. They've got the Reality. They've got the stun onto Pakaz. They've got the control onto the Sven. They've leashed him up with the Sprout. They'll get the kill onto the Sven as well. It's 90 seconds without their carry. Zai back to full health. C-Smile and the rest of EG trying to stop this from going down. They'll call GG, and Liquid will take the 2-0 over this Evil Genius side with ease.
Very clean execution coming out from Team Liquid in this second game. Like, the combos that they executed, swap into Hex 2 times, is what kind of opened up the map. And also these deep observer wards from Boxy, from Insania, mostly coming out from Boxy. Just the overall perfect execution from every single member of the team.
Yeah, so Team Liquid, even with the Wind Ranger, take the 2-0, and we'll go to a big Wind Ranger enjoyer. We'll throw it over to Slacks. Take it away.
Liquid, guys. Liquid win. Liquid! You won the game! Okay, I've never actually seen a player that upset to see me in my life. Congratulations, Liquid! You did it! Woohoo! All right, great. Well, anyway, interview time. Who wants to do it? Hey, you get a special cookie for your hard work. What'd you think of that game?
Was kind of hard.
Okay. Yeah. But you did it, though.
Yay.
Insania, the good interview target. Hello, welcome. How was the series for you?
It was good. Game 1 was really good. Game 2 started really good, and then we did some clowny stuff.
Yeah.
And then it got interesting. And then it ended good.
Okay, fantastic. I mean, that seemed like you guys had to work pretty hard. Boxy, you feeling good about that game, buddy? How was the ride? What was the ride for you like, you know? If you had to describe it, if you had to say the road to the International, was this a bumpy road, highway to hell? You know, Dota road, take me home?
Smooth sailing.
Smooth sailing, a paved road, even with the Wind Ranger. Nice job. Oh, and of course, we have to get the man here himself. Just oh my God, a one-worder, if you could, please. For the fans out there, how was the game?
Slow.
Okay, slow. Much like this interview, I can tell. Zai, anywhere? What, meme? Zai? Oh, what do you got for us, buddy?
I don't know. I was gonna watch the replay. You're kind of in my way, I think. So
I'm in your way as you're watching the replay. You just won. What do you have to learn?
So if you could please leave, I wanna watch this replay. You know.
Jesus. Okay. Thanks a lot, guys. All right. Great interview. Great times. The boys are really flopping, excited with energy. Back to you guys.
You're in the way, Slacks. What's up with you, man? We're trying to do some replay analysis. God damn it. Team Liquid, there's a reason why they look so hot right now. You can see how they're locked in. Zai especially will not leave unless he lifts an Aegis for the first time in his career. And he has a very good chance of doing so now that they are through to the playoffs on the road to the International. I'm back on panel. I've got Winter. I've got Big Liz. Boys, I think Insania said it best, Liz. Like the game at the beginning, honestly, at 10 minutes, I thought the game was 100% over. It was such domination. There were like 8 kills in the top lane.
Yep.
Boxy had denied 2 water runes. Bottom was kind of a disaster as well.
Yep.
What happened in the mid game? What did Liquid do?
I don't know who I would praise more. Would it be Insania or would it be Boxy? Together, the power of friendship. Yeah, but this Nature Prophet hero, it's insane. If you have a lane that's a little bit deep and can't really get out, Prophet just destroys it. TP's in, and that's what he was doing. He goes top, helps out Insania and CK, like CK Mikke, can't spell Mikke. Next level. Anyways, it was a really rough lane for EG. I think top is, we're told, kind of fell apart because Nature's Prophet was getting way too much. Insania, Lacoste called him like one of those players that excels at defensive heroes, like these Sabers, these Oracles, these Vengefulls. At the same time, every time he plays these heroes, he's got like 7 kills, 0 deaths. Like he destroys. And that's partly because he likes to kill steal a little bit with some of those spells, but not in this game. He was just on point.
I mean, he was buying the aggressive items.
Yeah.
I like it when position 5 players get drums early instead of like the bread and butter. You get arcane boots, you get glimmer cave, you get the false stuff, boring items, drums go in, set up kills. But then again, back to EG, like the root of like the problem of the team where I see they always face in their games is the offlaner is always dumped on an island alone, because Matthew on the position 4, he likes to run around freestyle, like he wants to do his own thing. And sometimes it's good, sometimes it's not good. It creates a lot of like uncertainty in the game, and whereas a lot of the games I feel like Whisper, he's on a hero that needs to have a decent start, a decent enough start that the support can leave him alone, but oftentimes I feel like he's being left alone way too much.
That's probably the best way to describe Matthew. He's a freestyler. I think you need that in a position 4, right? Like you need flair, you need...
And not in this... I feel like not in this meta, Like,
yeah. Okay, fair enough.
But that's a tough thing, I guess, right? Because when EG were looking good at the beginning of the year, in particular when they were playing at the Lima Major, it was with the style of leaving Whisper. At the time, it was mostly like Timbersaw, some Broodmother here, there, Brewmaster, Broodmother as well. But heroes that you could do that with. And that's when they were successful. So I guess it's hard to unlearn the habits that got you to success in the first place.
Yeah, it all comes down to the, like you just said, heroes that are played on the offlane. That's number 1. But I think it's also very important to know exactly when you can leave them, right? The problem is, usually you can leave your offlaner if you already have gained some significant advantage on the offlane. Like you're pressuring, he is maybe a level higher, he got a couple of kills, couple of those rings of health or something to sustain himself. The problem was in this particular game, they don't have that. Like they're being destroyed together, and if you leave him,
it's a phoenix,
He's a phoenix. What's he gonna do? He has that dive on a 40-second cooldown. He can escape once, and that's it.
I think what also makes it very complicated here on the enemy team to deal with Team Liquid, right, is how quickly they can get on top of you. We were talking in the previous game about, all right, what we need to do is be able to kill these heroes, these uber tanky heroes. And in this game, they still struggle to do that. The kill combination was a little bit better though, Winter. Could they have executed a little bit better in the early game to get some of those key kills, maybe 1 or more deaths on the Bristleback? Oh, hell, I think also that one moment where they killed Bristleback and didn't take the Roshan.
That was kind of a bit of an unlucky moment. They didn't really scout. He was scouting and then he came out and then Roshan spawned. Yeah, but at the same time, I feel like Pakas did a good job, when his team, they were behind and he was coming to the fights, defending the towers. He was doing whatever he can, whatever in his power to help his team, give them some little bit of extra damage, the stun. But you're down the core, I feel like a lot of the fights, they were lacking damage because Whisper, he was so poor on the Phoenix.
The Phoenix for the longest time, in my opinion, wasn't a great core in general, because the hero, mostly what he provided was the Sunray and the egg, right? Most of the time it would even be just the egg, this nuisance that everyone goes on. Right now I can see it resurging a little bit, like some teams are trying out the offlane Phoenix. I'm still not the greatest fan, but from EG, I like this draft and this style of play 10 times more than Game 1.
Yeah.
Game 1, I never felt they had a sliver of hope. This time around, at least, they could put up a fight even when the lanes went poorly.
Because we really did try his utmost to try and carry this game back into a useful position, but unfortunately unable to do so. Team Liquid just a little bit too solid, a little bit too good. You know, we're praising Insania for his prowess in the laning phase, but I really think this Boxy Nature's Prophet, it should be in every game. It's the amount of pressure he can apply on the map. He's killing everything, and I think Boxy always has been one of those players whose positioning is spectacular, beyond amazing. But we're going to be talking more about exactly what's happening with the game with Team Liquid and EG. We'll break it down a little bit further. But before we do so, we still have to remind y'all, we have more Dota to come. One more series here on the road to the International, which will be Gaming Gladiators versus Talent Esports. Of course, one of the talismans of the gaming lineup has been their star mid laner, Quinn. So let's find out about his journey here to Seattle on the road to the International.
I think difference during the DBC season compared to like Riyadh and the Stream League, I think, to be honest, I think teams got ahead of us a bit in terms of meta. I think all the ramifications of the massive map size patch weren't really truly felt until more recently. I think Riyadh was one of the first tournaments where people like that was started to be felt more. It just takes time for people to like truly understand some of these things, and it's still being felt. Like people don't really understand the map even close to like they used to with the old one, where everyone knew everything and it was like every game was like pre-planned. You know, 5 minutes, our game's over. It's not like that anymore. And I think we were honestly just a bit behind on some things, and other people they got ahead of us, and so we're just playing catch up. And when you're playing catch up as opposed to like you're in a good spot and there's slight things you're tweaking, that perspective difference is like massive. And I think for the last 2 tournaments we were in the perspective of we're trailing and we're like clawing to try to catch up to people as opposed to being near the front and like maintaining that position.
As you're going to welcome back, we've got our final series of the night ready to go as well. Gaming Gladiators taking on Talent Esports. And we've seen some 3 series with a couple of quick 2-0s. Hopefully this one will change the script a little bit for that all-important upper bracket slot.
It's a Talent series. You know it's going to go a little bit longer. They do like to farm the map. They're, you know, Tundra light, they're Spirit light. They take the slightly longer games, and they actually have a slightly more advantageous recent win record against the Gaming Gladiators. They ended up knocking them out in that 3rd, 4th decider at the Riyadh Masters. So they're going to have a little bit of momentum going their way, especially after the day 2, where they went 4-0 after a disaster of a day 1, Talent going 0-4.
Yeah, which was a crazy bounce back for them. And you know, Gladiators as well, of course, a lot of expectations coming into this TI with the year they've had. I mean, no one has had as successful of a year as these boys. No team ever has won every single major in a year. And these lads have done it. I mean, multiple other tournament victories on top of that as well. You look at Dream League, you look at some Bet Boom tournaments. Of course, you know, towards the tail end of the year, we have seen, you want to call it a little bit of a decrease in some of their play, but really, I mean, these are still the team to look out for. And they're going up against, like you said, a team that knocked them out at Riyadh. So I think, I don't know, I thought a lot of the other series were going to be really close. We didn't get too many close games. I'm hoping this one will be, though.
You know what? It's the day has been running pretty quick. People have no excuse to go to bed early, you know. Stick around, watch the whole day of Dota. This is the one. This is the main event of the day, the last series of the day, like we said. And, well, we're going to see another Dazzle removed from the pool. The most banned hero, I believe, all throughout TI so far, and for pretty good reason. You can just clump up, move on forward. The bad Juju providing so much armor, so much protection. And I'm keen to see how both teams have an understanding of how to play around this heart meta. Gaming Gladiators in particular really just love buying up hearts on as many cores as possible, and they even are one of the few teams that prioritize the Necrophos a little more than others, with Quinn picking up, I believe, 3 times already so far this tournament. And anything, you know me, we've been casting together for a little bit, that percentage-based damage is, I think, the key to unlocking a lot of these strats. We saw EG just try the Doom. I think that's another good one. You both have the percent damage with the Infernal Blade as well as the Doom itself to be able to nullify all of that healing that comes through from either healing supports or the heart itself.
And I've been saying as well, another hero on top of that is the AA, which we've seen some priority with so far today with getting first phased. And it's also another hero that we want to look at heading into this series. So far, Celery hasn't played it in any of their games in the group stages, and Oli hasn't as well. You mentioned a successful hero for Quinn with the Necro, 3 games, 3 wins. Oli, 3 games on the Pugna, 3 wins as well. So that's something that he's been playing a lot. And even Tofu, 5 games on on the Muerta. So this is also something that we see a little bit more emphasis on between these two teams with their supports compared to some of the other teams that we were covering in the group stages.
Yeah, I'm honestly a little surprised that they haven't given a little bit of attention to the Muerta in the first phase, and that's exactly why, right? You just have flex. I think it's being played pretty much equally between the position 1 and position 4 roles, but in terms of win rate, when it's played as a position 4, it's like 75%, something ridiculously high like that. And Tofu is a big reason why he's just been, and it's not even just one item build either. He goes completely different ones almost every single time, whether it's Vessel Yules, Glipnir Ags, Forstaff and Lotus Orb, Drums and Pipe. Like, they have got so many options. It's so flexible, but then again, so is the Invoker.
And it is indeed. Of course, a hero that's pretty much always been first phase banned in a lot of the games that we've seen so far. The road to the international slips through. Without a doubt, going to pick it up. Just again, staying with the Muerta, Duracho hasn't played it yet. So every single game, it has been Tofu. Of course, we have seen Duracho more than... It definitely has the capability. We've seen at previous Dream Leagues when this hero just came out. But at least so far, they feel like it is best suited for a support.
I think he's played it like 3 times in the past 6 months, though. So it's not like he's been super practicing, unless he's been spamming it behind closed doors. It really, to me, it doesn't feel like a Duracho hero, you know?
But some of those heroes you'd say is the Chaos Knight, which is without a doubt top 5 carries at the moment. I still don't have too good of a read on where like Wraith King fits into play. I know Duracho's got like a really good Spectre and Lifestealer. These are really solid heroes at the moment, so of course, we're not going to be looking at his hero at the moment, but when we get further into the draft, we'll see what they want to give over to Duracho.
There's a potential for it. They could look to pick up a Wraith King early-ish, just because Ace has shown the potential to be able to play it. I don't think Quinn has actually played too much of the Primal Beast. It's really been Ace that's been fulfilling that sort of role. So in terms of like... similarity and flex between the cores, it would really have to be between Ace and Duracho. Even like the Lone Druid is a possibility. You know, we were talking about that yesterday. It really feels like this is the sort of meta that Ace would absolutely be loving.
Any surprises so far with, I guess, the second phase? We only see Gladiators at the moment, but the Dawnbreaker and the Tusk?
I think it's specifically targeting like this offlane. I think that's a big reason behind why Talon were able to come back with that 4-0 record. They just played to their strengths, right? And Q, his Tusk is pretty great. He's one of the only people still playing the support Tiny, and he made it work yesterday with 2 wins, I believe. And yeah, you mentioned the Pugner as well. I'm a little surprised that Ollie still has that it left in the pool for him. Of course, picking it now would a little bit reduce the flexibility of this Invoker, but even coming into the tournament, Pugner plus Void Spirit and Underlord were the 2 heroes that Talon really liked to pair together, and well, there is that Tiny that I was talking about.
Man, if anyone is going to pull out a support Tiny still, it's going to be that man on screen right now. You said best in the world? That's
best in the world.
That's a pretty big claim.
Bro, he's like 3rd in net worth consistently as this position 4 Tiny. Come on.
This is the hero we've been, you've been definitely mentioning a lot as well with the Phoenix potential. You got strong combo now to the puck, so a lot of team fight, a lot of AoE damage. We're going to need to see a response out of Talon. I mean, you pick the puck into the Tiny. Like, I guess we haven't seen really them play the Invoker too much as a support, but there is maybe now you're deciding, do you want to put Tiny mid lane and then play the Invoker, or whether it be for Q or Ollie?
I think you're still generally okay with playing Mikoto on the Invoker. Yes, it's really hard to like chain lock down the puck, but that's what the Tiny is for, right? So it's really just about, maybe playing a little bit more passive of an early game and then really just starting to ramp up around that 15 or so minute mark when you should be starting to come online with your Blink Daggers, with your Urn Vessel, whatever it might be that you've got at that time.
Could be a cool little combo as well, like coil into Deadshot. So we'll see how Gaming Gladiators, if they can execute that combo as the game goes on. But what do we feel like Talon need to cover? Because again, we see like a lot of team fight out of Gaming Gladiators. Are you looking to go down that route a little bit as well for Talon to be able to take these 5-on-5 fights once we get there?
Yeah, possibly. I mean, the Brewmaster has actually slipped all the way through to this stage, and I think it's something that Jabs plays pretty significantly well. Of course, it would lead to having a double melee offlane, which isn't really something that you want to be giving away at this stage, unless you're incredibly confident about the strength of it. And I'm just not quite sure if they are quite yet at that point. They're just going to go back to the well again. Why not? The Pugna is a really good combination. It allows you to stay out on the map very frequently just with that mana battery coming through. Of course, it's probably not going to be paired together with the likes of a Storm Spirit, but still feels pretty strong when played together with a Tiny or an Invoker. Even just the Decrep for the Avid Toss combo really does rip someone apart.
5 seconds remaining.
Have you got a preference with carries with leaning into the Pugna?
Not really. I mean, I think you just need someone that's either going to have a good amount of stun and kill threat, or you need someone that just stays the hell away from him and doesn't really care, because Pugna's big strengths are high damage, high movement speed, but a lack of like mobility skills.
We were mentioning the potential of Duraccio having a lot of success in the past with the Wraith King. Ace has played it a lot so far as well, but 23 Savage too, we've seen in the past, really like this Wraith King hero. So you've got a pretty strong safe lane for Talon. Of course, we don't know even if Jabs wants to play it in the off lane. You do have a lot of pushing potential, which, now with the Wraith King Pugna, these towers could fall at a really rapid rate.
And the one criticism that I had about Talon in times gone by, even when they had that really successful Riyadh run, was that it felt like teams that just outpaced them just absolutely ran through them. And so I like that they've added this extra string to their bow where they're able to actually be the ones playing a little bit more on the front foot early on. It's why Liquid have such a great record against them, right? Liquid are great at playing fast, but Talon now, they're looking to try it themselves. And if it is Savage playing this would be his 7th game so far of this tournament. 9th game. And this would be his 9th unique hero. So he is really just going for the versatility on his Pentagon right now.
That's the other carry we brought up earlier. So, so both sides are pretty happy, at least with their ones. I wonder what the...
I could see Ace playing it too.
Yes, without a doubt. He's done it in the past.
10 seconds remaining.
I'm just seeing a heart builder. Like they have a lot of damage, but again, the percent damage a tiny bit lacking outside of the vessel, right? And you're going to have the Phantasm to be able to get out of that. You're eventually going to be able to get into a BKB on the CK. We even see occasionally a Manta style come out from him, but probably not super early on. So it is going to take a little bit to be able to get through this CK's HP pool, especially once he hits up onto that level 15 talent. Minus 100% damage taken from the Phantasm, so they only take an extra, 225%, or 125% if you will.
What do you feel like they are?
People that deal with it.
What do you feel like they're lacking in the offlane? I know you said the potential of the CK to be 1 or 3, but if we are still looking for that ace hero to outround their draft and be able to pair up with a Moeta for Tofu, what do you kind of feel like they need to cover?
I don't think they would hate a Brewmaster either, to be honest. I mean, Ace has really good micros, so it obviously already fits his sort of style. And also, it's a nice way to be able to dispel things like the Decrep if you're using it defensively. You can completely isolate one of the heroes in these team fights. You can, use the Void Bruling as well for a little bit of that pushing potential. And you've already got the potential to control a closed-in area of a fight with the Dream Coil, with the Calling, with the Dead Shot. Like, it's a lot of stuff that holds people into this little choke point. So I feel like a Brewmaster would work really well.
Do we see a potential of Centaur even being considered as well for the Gladiators? I mean, it feels like Centaur Moeta could be a pretty strong lane. Maybe as the game goes on, Wraith King, some of the physical damage might be a bit of a concern, but it's just another initiating hero, so the puck can follow up. So you've got the Chaos Knight as well, and Moeta can freely be able to play around these fights.
That's a possibility, and they do get rid of Ace's low druid. I'm just thinking, I have a lot of faith in Makoto and Q in terms of their spell timing, right? If you're going to pop the Stampede, they're going to be ready with a Blink Avalanche. They're going to be ready with a Tornado to be able to interrupt that sort of thing. So that's really just what's coming to the front of mind for me. Might not get the same level of effectiveness as you might be truly wanting.
Let's even see what this last band's going to be for Gladiators as well. Of course, we've just seen prior, they're looking to get rid of the Sven just in case it is going to be Jabs playing the Wraith King. And you are going to need to find some ways to be able to deal with this Chaos Knight. Just, the Phantasm, they are really lacking that AoE damage. I mean, Tiny's a support, really, you're probably not considering him. Invoker, sure, pretty decent at it, but you'd like someone else to be able to help out.
Yeah, I haven't really been playing too much other AoE heroes for 23 Savage. It's basically only been the Sven so far, unless you can count a PA and getting into that Battle Fury, but I don't know about how I would feel about that one. In terms of other things, Legion Commander wouldn't be horrible if you were wanting to run this as a position 1 Faceless Void, just to have a little bit of extra saves coming through, and they do go for that brew for the extra team fight. So now, like, the potential of locking someone down 100 to 0 just ramps up even further, right? You don't want the Phoenix to get off his ultimate and his Sunray. You don't want the Brewmaster to get off his split, because then the team fight just swings so far in the favor of Gaming Gladiators. So this really does feel like Talon pick-off versus Gaming Gladiators team fight.
Without a doubt, without a doubt. So we're going to have to see if they continue to go down that route here for Talon. If you want another strong lane, because Gladiators have very strong lanes at the moment. So we get that 24th pick to be able to outrun your draft, whether it's going to be Jabs or Savage, to be able to secure their lane.
Looks like they're still discussing it between the two of them. They're the only ones really raising any kind of points within the Talon camp right now. A little surprised that Sunby hasn't, you know, done the classic coach thing and yoinked one of their seats.
The players be comfy. Ooh. With the Naga. Okay. So is
I'm just waiting, just in case it's a Jabs one, because, you know, it's a C specialty to be able to put the Naga Siren in the off lane. Obviously, if Masaros was here for SMG, he would have been doing it all the way going back to KP as well. He loves that off lane Naga Siren, but it's going to be 23 Savage playing it. It is going to be a Jabs Wraith King coming through. It kind of goes away from that pick-off style that I was talking about. I suppose you do go into the Orchid a little early on the Naga Siren if you really wanted to go down that sort of route. And they are a little bit single target focused. But, I mean, again, you've got the Wind Panda to be able to deal with some of those Naga illusions early on before she gets a lot of those stats. So it's a good way to be able to clear out a lot of 23 Savage's team fight effectiveness if it does get to that stage. But remember, that's not really what Talon are going for, right? They're going for the burst. They want to be the ones that are initiating and starting things off. And I'm sure that's what Sunby in the background is drilling into his boys right now.
It's definitely an interesting read, right? Where you can, I know you're mentioning a lot about Talon's potential to just go for these pickoffs and avoid the team fights. And that's something that Illusion Heroes can really help enable, where you just split up the map. We've spoken the supports on Gladiators are really going to struggle with dealing with these Naga illusions. So, you know, we'll see. Do you even have the potential, like if Egg is used, you can Song to kill it or retreat, depending on how Quinn's going to use his coils. So there's a lot of like disengage your methods out of Talon now just with this Naga. And again, Gladiators, they're very team fight heavy, very cooldown reliant. So we're going to have to look at Talon and how they can open up the map. You need to get these Mikoto's rotations on point. You're going to need a pretty decent blink timing out of Q. So his also early rotations going to be pivotal on how early he can get his blink. But, you know, if Gaming Gladiators can just get their levels on their supports, their cores, take a couple fights with their ultimates and start to build that lead. And if they can get these 5-on-5 fights, it can still look a bit scary for Talon. But the Naga really throws a spanner in the works here, so we'll see what Savage can do.
We will, and like I was saying before during the earlier stage of the draft, I really still think despite having this quite aggressive, pick-off heavy, and even tower push-oriented draft, it is still going to be a slow-ish 10 to 15 minutes, at least from Talon's perspective. That's what they want. They want to get their core items online. Like you said, Q needs to get into that early Blink Dagger if possible, but once they hit that timing, once they truly come online, I'm expecting to see these 4 heroes minus Savage on the Naga Siren just grouping up and trying to ball down these towers. You know, with the Blink Dagger, you can isolate someone, you can burst them with the Decrep, Nether Blast, Spirit Vessel, which I'm sure Mikoto will have at the time. And, well, good to see a little bit of banter going on in the overall chat. Broski coming through from 23.
Project Mbappe. All right.
What do you think about the dot cringe after 23 Savage's name?
It's a bit cringe. I don't know. I was expecting something a little bit better. I guess he's got no sponsor tag. Duraccio.
Right away.
Should be fine. Jabs. Oh.
He's in the fog nicely.
You get the illusion.
We get to enjoy the Naga Siren illusions as well. The noise of the washing machine coming through. Hang on. Every single right click.
They got 2 illusions. Hang on, this extra 2 gold for Quinn and Topher to start.
Is it over?
I don't know. Let's see how many bounties they get as well. See if we get a fight too. So, of course, both sides well aware of the current positioning. We'll see. This is going to be such an exciting matchup. Like you said, You know, previously, Talon, they knocked out Gladiators at Riyadh. We've seen previously Dream League. Gladiators, I think it was Dream League Season 20 actually knocked out Talon in the playoffs as well. So
The battle begins.
been back and forth between these two teams for the entire year. Does look like GG is going to be able to find 3 bounties as well to start.
I love the Celery mind games coming through as well. Only waiting to drop the good luck, have fun after they get that mid D ward off as well. I mean, he does little things that are kind of crazy. Like in the middle of a game, like after a play, even if someone was completely uninvolved, he'll tip them. Even if they weren't supposed to be part of that, he'll tip them just to kind of, you know, sow some of that discourse into the rest of the team. Like, why is he tipping him? What are we talking about? It's all about that little extra edge that you're trying to get throughout these games.
Edge is always important. Always important. You get a little bit of advantage against these two teams. They're so evenly matched. Such a treat as we get to see them already being able to battle it out in such an important series. Q down to 100 health though, so early on, Duracio and Celery putting a lot of damage into the two. This could be a very messy lane though for Talon. Double melee, really going to struggle with the Fire Spirits. Again, Chaos Knight probably one of the better laning carries behind the Trolls. So, and this is not going to get easier as levels go on as well.
No, it's really the level 2 timing that I'm looking for here on Gaming Gladiators, right? Tiny has 0 armor to be able to start things off. He's bought a Ring of Protection specifically because of this purpose, going up against a Chaos Knight. And, you know, when that Reality Rift comes online, well, maybe you won't have the mana pool for it, actually, considering he has been spamming out the Chaos Bolts, but it really is going to put Q in a lot of strife. You know, going down to -2 armor, you're probably going to be able to secure the kill onto him. So it's important for Talon that they get up to a level 2 pretty quickly on him, just to get that early point in the Avalanche and disrupt any kind of aggressive plays that GG might be trying to make against them.
I mean, are you already considering about maybe even just dragging the wave? I know it's not as potent as what it used to be, but is this something you're considering from Talon to maybe offset the current lane setup? Because we see level 2, they're going to go. Jabs should be our first blood with a dive slow. Duracio doesn't need to dive under the tower thanks to Celery's damage over time. And they will take a little bit of damage from the Korea waves. Q's still going to hold them down as well with the Avalanche, but it's a nice hit back damage-wise, but nonetheless, still that first blood gold is going to be huge in this lane.
It's going to be Celery getting it again. So got the D-Ward gold, got the first blood gold, and you know, again, Phoenix really doesn't need all that much to be able to have a really high level of impact.
It's cold on mid. What's happening here, actually? Cold stuff could be frustrating with a Korea wave. Yeah, Quinn, the joined over the right side, still has some water runes to play with, but we already see this mid matchup as well. Quinn trying to, you know, put it to the edge here on Makoto.
It's going to mean that with that dive, he ends up losing the flag bearer creep, so doesn't have that little bit of extra regen. But of course, with the Invoker, somewhat sustainable, right? You've got the Cold Snap to be able to play around with if you wanted to just sit in the Ghost Walk. Probably a little bit too early level-wise to do it. Yeah.
Nice Avalanche to be able to cover jabs at the moment, but the stun as well on the dive. Celery will actually go down. A much-needed kill for Talon.
Yeah, very, very nicely done by Q, specifically making sure that he's able to follow him up on the backside. And again, just that Wraithfire Blast mid-air. That's, if you're going to make these big brain plays trying to dive in onto the
Duracio. These skeleton damage is really starting to stack up here on Duracio.
He's got a tree.
Is it enough? Oh. No, 20 health. Is he Q? What? Looking for the Taz.
Why not? Got to go for those sorts of plays. And you were talking about the regen. Gaming Gladiators is out of regen, and because they've gone for that earlier kill threat, yeah, they've got 1 point in the Chaos Strike, but it's just not enough to be able to keep yourself safe up on this top side. But still, overall, all lanes going fairly well for the Gaming Gladiators right now. We haven't really been talking about bot all that much, have we?
No, Ace off to a good start. 19-6. They're to the 16-3 currently for the Brewmaster. We'll see what his item build's going to be. You know, we've got him like Brown Boots, Midas, Radiance, maybe a little bit of extra utility as well as a potential. Is there something you are looking at here for Ace?
I think the Radiance would work fairly well, right? You know that it's going to prevent perhaps a little bit of damage.
I don't know about this. Yeah, they wanted to go for Ollie, but it just meant that Savage was freely able to right-click. And now Ace is in some danger as well. Decrypt to slow him down so Savage can get in front of the retreating Brewmaster. This eventually will be a double kill, and we are seeing the power of this Pugna again. Talon, they played it 3 times with 3 victories in the group stages, and Ollie's really given a good start over to Savage.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, when they were playing it in the games leading up to the Road to the International, like, it was by far their most common picked hero to be able to pair together with a lot of these other combinations. And, well, I was even talking about, we often see a lot of supports don't have a ton of synergy. You can get kills with just this Pugna and Q once he starts to get into that Blink Dagger timing.
Dude, Quinn is bodying mid though, 34-6 compared to the 26-4. Very impressed with the start that we're seeing out of the puck so far. And of course, we know previously, actually top lane Jabs looking at TP out. Oh, we died in base. Stun still cooldown for Dyrachyo. Q should be able to get back to the tower. Are they actually looking to go for it? No, never mind.
It's a big deal to have the Wraith King all the way back there, basically level on net worth with Celery up until this point, off the back of the first slot. But again, oh, wasn't expecting that.
Oh, some big kills now for Gladiators. You get that one up top. Ollie's now going to be pressured out as well. So yeah, a couple core kills, 1,000 net worth lead early, and this might help the supports to rotate to try and secure the power. And we've already got Q.
It's obvious though, Quinn knows he's here. Ooh, nicely done. There wasn't too much more that Quinn could have done there. He did. But I mean, the thing is, you had a creep wave half underneath this top tier 1 tower, and Q wasn't getting it. They knew the Jabs didn't have a TP, so he was either stacking or going for the power rune, and you would have to assume that the power rune was the one that they were prioritizing. Still, though, that extra regen rune is going to provide a lot to Mikoto. I mean, we were talking about, in terms of last hits, coming out a little bit on top on Quinn, but Mikoto, in terms of net worth, is right there with him.
Yeah, actually, definitely not bodying. Not bodying at all. Yeah, he's still doing a very good job. What do we want to see out of these mid laners, though? Because with the Coswex, already we will get our first rotation out of Mikoto, so shoved away with the Tornado. Now looking to try and play with Jabs as well. Q is not nearby. It's just going to be the 2 cores on Talon. His first rotation.
Question of how close does he get to that sentry that's currently blocking the hard camp. Doesn't look like he'll be able to make anything happen.
And they've got the read. Of course, Quinn shoves out the lane, so where would we like to see Quinn rotate to as well? Then, you know, that coil, of course, first one of the game could almost just guarantee a kill. Is there a lane you would prefer the puck to move to?
I'd personally prefer him to go to top, just because Jabs has already had a pretty rough start, and it's going to just be put this Wraith King in the bin. You don't exactly provide a ton of utility when you're being played as an offlane, and they've got that kill threat there with the Chaos Knight as well, guaranteed.
Wonder when we're even going to see Ollie maybe think about making a play, you know, potentially through the portal. Currently hugging around this mid lane.
Whacking away at this tier 1 tower already. He's level 5 at 7.5 minutes, so 3 points Nether Blast. He could put a little bit of damage in.
I mean, that could be really frustrating. Just the Pugna showing mid, shoving the wave, putting pressure on the tower to force someone here, which could enable Mikoto. And we're going to see again him to consider about moving top, but
yeah, he's got the urn coming out to him now, and he's probably retreating back to be able to contest this top power rune. No one covering bottom side for Talon right now. Gaming Gladiators have secured that one, and it's going to be an arcane rune. So what more could you ask for as a puck?
Celery? You're going to be able to stop the dive away. Does get some separation. Still going to hunt with the Tornado, but off the mark. So Celery again. Mikoto, these movements, we are going to see. I mean, he's currently fine in net worth, but
you got to make sure you're keeping up.
Yes.
Yeah, that's the big thing. You got to make these early rotations count. You got to get those charges in the Urn of Shadows. You don't want it to be because you've died, and now they're actually going to go for a rotation of their own with that arcane rune, and they know they have to deal with this mid creep wave.
Jabs in a lot of danger. I mean, more heroes from Dire starting to funnel to top. You just have to sacrifice Jabs. In fact, he's even going to be able to TP out. Quinn is still going to be there nonetheless with the coil. So get the kill onto Q. Is this all 5 heroes? Everyone from Dire is at this top side.
He was able to TP out as a result of all of that. So, I mean, it's a lot of heroes being committed. And again, 23 Savage is happy on this bottom side. He's playing the Naga Siren. Maybe they feel on Gaming Gladiators that, you know what, we've got the Brewmaster. We haven't had to use the split just yet. We have the answers to it early on before she gets too many stats that the Wind Panda is just going to be absolutely able to wreck it with the Dispel magic.
Do you feel like... No, I'll actually hold that because we might have a bit of a brawl once again with 3 heroes around mid. What the play is going to be, of course, Dire. They have this ward that was able to scout out Q's currently position. Tofu's hanging behind Quinn as well. So it looks like the puck should be fine. Do you feel like, because we just saw the read, like Gladiators are putting so much emphasis on defending their tower. That was a big advantage we spoke about with Talon, with the Nether Blast and the Wraith King to take these early objectives. Do you agree that Gladiators should like bring 4-5 members to defend these early towers, or should they just play the macro game?
I think they're banking on the fact that Talon are going to overcommit and they're going to really be able to come out on top with any sort of defense, because you can't have that sort of thing happen where you only end up getting a support, right? 23 Savage getting a ton of farm is a disaster.
This could be dangerous. Coil with the egg, but they just blow up Quinn. His health pool disappeared. Makoto's going to go under the cover of the Ghost Walker. Pretty good dead shot, but really not going to help out too much in the end. Another turnaround's going to be there. What can these two supports do to pressure Talon? I mean, Tofu will use a defensive ultimate. Makoto can still stall out the retreat. Even got Tornado at the ready. An Avalanche will help them close the distance. A little bit messy with a Tornado. And Tofu actually gets out. They stop the tree throw damage, and our Celery is going to be back with a combo. Ace comes out of nowhere as well.
He won't be.
He's got the ultimate ready to go if they want to continue chasing. And in the end, I mean, it's a support for Quinn's life. You're probably happy with it for Talon, but it's a messy spellcasting nonetheless. Top lane Thoraccio. Makoto's going to look to try and tip in with jabs. He's just got him far too aggressive in this lane. They recognize there's a very vulnerable Chaos Knight to these rotations, and they will be able to capitalize off the back of that. He's going to try and make it work for the kill. Surely not, right?
Toss forward?
Thoraccio, no way.
Oh my god, he's getting away. Chaos Knight is just so speedy, man.
Makoto, can he catch up to him?
No, he doesn't have Cold Snap or Tornado in front or anything. Nicely done. So much space. So that's a couple of kills that you really probably should have converted onto. Both one onto Tofu with the Avalanche being used at the same time as the Tornado, not dealing that additional amount of damage. And yeah, Thoraccio getting away with murder there. The plus side, at least still for Talon, is they do have this pushing style lineup. So Ollie is just chipping away at this top tower. It doesn't matter if a couple of creeps get hit into that mid tier 1. There's not too much significant damage being done there. And they are going to be opening up the map even further for Savage to play completely uncontested right now on this bottom side of the map.
This tower does have to go down now, though. Like we've seen, Gladiators done a pretty good job to stall it out for a couple minutes. And with Egg on cooldown, we are going to have some difficulties of potentially defending this tower with multiple heroes. And yeah, does look like Talon will be successful. You also take
lucky as well. Power rune top side for Q. So Quinn was right in position to be able to secure that one and maybe make a bit of a move down here to be able to gank Savage. But without that, you don't have as much of that surprise factor. They're pinging it out right now that they have been missing off the map for quite some time. So let's see where Savage looks to move.
Both sides are making their own play. Currently, they're going to... Talon will run into Thoraccio first. They don't want to go for the CK Mimo Savage.
Song.
Did he even...
That's the next level play.
Oh, well done.
I saw Quinn underneath the tower, but anyway.
Okay, so both sides look for their own individual play across the map. Will both be thwarted as well. So this will give a bit of an opportunity now for Gladiators, maybe to put some pressure onto the T1 tower. I mean, they're ready to go to force a 5v5 fight. With these ultimates back up, do you even need to, though? Because again, I mean, Ace, Midas, 2k gold in the bank. Are you looking to really take these big engagements at the moment from Dial?
I think you can, just because, again, Talon aren't quite ready yet, but I think what Talon are doing is pretty good. They're not committing their Wraith King to a lot of these pushes. They're not committing 23 Savage to a lot of these pushes. They're only putting heroes that are going to provide a lot of effectiveness in terms of being able to do some tower damage, open up the map, but it's not the absolute worst if they die, and they've got a lot of saves for them in terms of stuns, decrep, heal, Tornado, lots of stuff to be able to make sure that they're not giving their lives up for free.
I haven't even noticed. Jabs has a Midas queued up. So we are... I mean, this is the classic Talon greed, right? Like trying to go ultra late game. See if he's going to be able to get to that stage. So smoke off from Talon, looking to try and move down bottom to slow down some of the farm that Ace is getting. These two heroes by themselves might lack the damage. Ace can have the potential to get his ultimate off. The timing needs to be perfect with the chain control.
They did decrep him.
Ace, there we go.
But still, I mean, not having Bruce Split now makes you feel like, you know what, okay, we're a lot more confident to be able to take a lot of these fights. We saw there the Tumbler's toy on Q. Doesn't have the Blink Dagger just yet, but does provide him that little bit of extra initiation. I mean, the Savage and Jabs are going to be very happy about this as well. You know, they don't have that extra little bit of lockdown. They don't have that team fight. Maybe they can get a little bit more greedy with the farm that they're looking to try and pick up.
I mean, we see Makoto just queued up the Midas as well after the Vessel. This tower is under some danger. Oh, very awkward dead shot.
There was a Ricky in the river.
Ah, okay. Right. Just trying to break down some trees to stop the TP locations in. I see.
For sure.
There no celeries here?
Makoto be fine, though. And Savage is right behind him.
Crow's gonna break. Dive directly on the top. Do they want to deal with the egg of retreat? Savage and Oli's going to try and turn to bring it down the ditch. Man, so close
Almost.
from Tofu to keep it up, but see, Talon nonetheless will be able to bring him down. Now they're going to look for more. Quinn Duke's over to the right side, but Q, perfect placement out of the Tiny. He's going to make sure there is no escape from the mid lane on Gladiators, or is there? Another orb to get some separation, and Quinn will get out of danger.
Yeah, barely. One more second and he would have been dead to rights. Looks like Makoto might even be looking to try and go for a bit of a follow-up here. He might see the Illusory Orb going up towards the north side, and he's got those Spirit Vessel
Well
charges.
done. Nice hunting, Makoto. Going to be able to stop the Sunray instantly. Now Q's even moving over as well. They should be able to get a double kill as a result to this Makoto. Hunting deep behind the tower, getting ready to potentially punish any defense out of gaming Gladiators.
I've been really impressed with how Savage has been playing this game so far. You know, sure, he dies one time on the bottom side, but just the realization that he has this complete bottom side of the map to be able to farm. He's put himself a good amount ahead in terms of net worth. He made sure to use the song to be able to get away when they went for that one attempt. And then when they thought that maybe they could try and make a kill attempt of their own, he's in there, right in the position to be able to use that early Manta style, to be able to use all of that net worth as a significant threat. So really, really liking the Savage play so far. Again, 9 games, 9th unique hero from him. So the man is versatile.
And he is really taking over in the net worth. Up there by long shot. I mean, it does have to be said that the rest of the cores on Talon are struggling to keep up in farm, but importantly, you've got this blink on Q ready to go. He's not with the team just yet for this attempt.
Quick fingers by Quinn.
So Jabs is still...
Pop all that much on Talon to be able to make that kill attempt happen, right? You've got Q, like you mentioned, going to be about to come in as he refills his... He's got a Midas as well on the Tiny, by the way. We're going to have, what, 3 Midases? 3 Midases.
Should be 3.
On Talon.
So maybe I'll wait, because I think they're going to look to try and make a play off the back of the blink on Q. So they do see Dyrachyo farming top, which would be a huge kill.
Vision around this top side as well.
And they should get him. Stuck around for a little bit too long. Dyrachyo's been flawless so far, 17 minutes in. But Talon finally going to be able to close the door into the Chaos Knight. They are instant TPs coming through from Gladiators. Are they going to be fast enough to keep him alive? Sunray's out from Celery. Dyrachyo getting a lot of bonus health back with the life steal as well. And now the Supernova gives him firm control. Dyrachyo is all a bait, and now with Gladiators here, they can look to clean up. Jabs is going to end up going down. They'll be rewarded with the kill on Q, but Savage wants to turn the fight. The first fight for him, looking to get involved. He's got that Orchid ready in the arsenal, but it's still messy. Makoto doesn't have the health pool to bite back as well. Now Ace, he wants to charge on full, but the song will stop him short. Savage is able to TP out, but Dyrachyo lives long enough. The boys come in full force, and that's a 3-for-1 in the end.
It's just those little things, right? Millimeters of difference. The chain control wasn't perfect before he was able to get the Phantasm off, which meant that you ended up hitting the wrong Phantasm illusion. Look at all that damage as well coming out from Celery. This is the reason why I'm saying, teams, I know it's been picked a fair amount already, but pick Phoenix more against a lot of these beefy heroes in these longer team fights. It really does shine.
Yes, another attempt potentially.
Yeah.
Underneath this Observe Ward.
There's no split now. But it's against the Radiance.
Should nonetheless, with all the magical damage, be able to bring him down.
The chance this time.
So again, this is the big thing we brought up in the draft, right? Like, Gladiators, you're playing with a lineup that is very cooldown reliant. So Talon, this is where you can look to really put some pressure onto the map. And it's going to be up to Quinn kind of to stall it out. I mean, you see instantly shoves out mid. It's going to force Talon to respond. And now we've got a little bit of break in the action. How do we feel about this going late game? Because your Gladiators, you look, again, 5v5 team fight looks super scary. But Talon feel like with their Midases, maybe they can compete up against this. Quinn? Nice silence. Wow. Cool, is even
Gonna need to coil Q. He knows the kill threat's coming there from the Tiny, and yeah, the multiple Midases. Okay, ends up snapping the coil anyway. Yeah, the multiple Midases really do lean it slightly more towards Talon than what I would normally predict, and also just the fact that it's Q playing the Tiny, right? We've seen what this man is able to do. We've seen his mid to late game impact. You could kind of like the Muerta, honestly, become that legitimate fourth core for the team. So I really feel like it's going to be pretty damn even if it gets late.
That's going to be
the fact that Talon are playing around this ward as well, right? It's something that I was really wanting them to do. They knew with the kill that they were able to secure onto Ace that it was obvious that that sort of area was warded. So not only do they protect it, they also get rid of an observer ward of game and zone. But still, net worth is literally dead even.
And the reason why it was like that for quite some time was because of 23 Savage, but now it's given time for, Jabs. His Midas is continuing to pay off. He had a Blade Mail queued up for quite some time, but it's currently the Radius that he's changed his mind to. We are seeing he's looking for that Ultra Scaling, which we have kind of seen from some of the offlane Wraith Kings, Radiance, Interceptor. I know earlier today we got the kind of core Wraith King from Noticed on Virtus Pro, so a bit of a different choice here from Jabs, but yeah, like you said, still very close this game.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the Wraith King Ags is pretty significant this game. I mean, you consider the sort of heroes that you're playing alongside. Like, it probably means another Avatos combination, for example, if Q ends up dying, and that's a significant amount of burst damage. It means a lot more damage coming out from Ollie. Like, these sorts of things are super significant once it gets to the later stages. And again, the Midas is really starting to pay off now.
That they are. What about some of the support itemization? We've spoken a lot about Muerta having a very versatile item build. We see Tofu 4, 1, and 2, highest net worth out of the support. So he can kind of go for some different items to help out. We'll see how we can get involved off the back of the smoke here. Gladiators is the target. Q's currently going to show on the lane. They should know a smoke's going on, though. Ace revealed with the Cinderbrew and the clap. So let's see whether they play accordingly now on Talon. And yeah, it's just an all retreat.
Not even defending this mid wave at all. They're letting Duraccio be the one to be able to take it out. They know something's up. They would much rather have better positioning or no positioning at all. They're just going to back off completely. So time wasted, more value for Midases. You know that Gaming Gladiators aren't farming. You're okay in general. And for the fact that their tier 1 tower mid lasted until 21.5 minutes, I think they're fairly satisfied.
Yeah, so I was going to...
Making a bit of a line being drawn on the map now, but I'm sure Jabs is saying, guys, just give me a little bit more time. 400 gold away from my Radiance. That'll be a real difference maker against this CK.
Are they looking for their own smoke here for Talon? What's the group up as 5?
They want to, but yeah, like Jabs really just wants literally an extra 30 seconds. So,
okay, so
what can you do to the lanes in that time?
Going to mention before, do you like the route from Tofu going the Lotus? Like, is there any other things? Okay.
Like, by far, I think it's the best item this game, considering what you're up against, right? It means no targeted stun from the Wraith King, no slow from the Wraith King, no cold snap, no Orchid, no Decrepify. It's a lot of stuff that it protects you against, even just the toss from Q as well. So these sorts of things are really going to be high value for them. I mean, even just the armor component as well, right? Against the Wraith King and the Naga Siren feels pretty good.
Some big item timings, though. Savage completes the heart.
Both teams.
And there's the Radiance as well for the Wraith King. So we are ready to go, and we're probably at a stage where we need to be looking towards Roche. I'd say Die maybe struggle a little bit more at taking that. But Radiant, without a doubt, should be able to if they have a little bit more time. So it is going to be down bottom for the next 2 minutes. No one currently has too much vision set up in the area.
Quinn knows there's people nearby with that Nether Ward being placed down. So ends up just being able to poke and prod onto Q. He knows that unless Savage is there, there's no way he's going to die. And even then, he's got the Yule Scepter to be able to play around with for that Orchid. So it really is Q being the main hero that he needs to be worried about. I wonder if they're even making the call of, you know what, we wanted the Radiance on Jabs, now we want the Midas on Q before we make any sorts of plays. Hell, even if we end up dying, we're still going to be impacting our net worth positively. Not if he dies, though, and gives up a good amount of that unreliable gold.
Back-to-back smokes that might not work out.
Jabs
is going to act as a bait. Pops the smoke, of course. Can eat a lot of the spells. They haven't used too many big abilities, though. Mimo over to the left side. Savage going toe-to-toe. It's a pretty good supernova in the middle of the team fight. 23 needs to make the call of the retreat. They'll get out of range of the egg. It's a lot of abilities now used. Meanwhile, Jabs on the right side, though, does get assassinated. Can you still go for more from Gaming Gladiators? You don't have the greatest health pool on Duraccio.
All you've really got left is the Pierce the Veil on to Tofu, and he's got the Aghanim Shard as well to be able to play around with, so he can look to stand his ground in man fight, but yeah, like you said, they've got absolutely nothing else. No Dream Call, no Supernova, no Split, no Phantasm even to be able to make plays around. So the fact that, you know, a Wraith King dies, not the greatest, still the very long cooldown on the reincarnation, but he's going to be back up. He's still got the Midas ticking, so I think he's generally okay with things. And he's going to be the one acting as that bait a lot of the time. You can see immediately after that, he queues up the Blade Mail, just making sure that, you know what, if you're going to commit this much onto me, not only are you getting burned, you're also probably going to die.
Really have the lanes in a good position to make something out of the map here, Talon. Get the pick off onto Tofu. They're going to look to maybe connect to top as well. They've got this lane shoved out. Mid's going to be pushed out as well, so they can, I mean, you still got, what, 50 seconds with Egg on cooldown, 57 with the Primal Split, so you can continue to posture pretty aggressively inside Dire's jungle.
Yeah, Vision isn't amazing right now for Talon, especially considering it did just turn into nighttime. I would have loved if Ollie was able to, for example, get an Observer Ward behind that top tier 2 tower just to be able to play around. But you know that Jabs isn't going to be joining in for the next little bit, right? Like, it's still another 40 seconds until he's going to have that reincarnation back and available. So I assume he just wants to get that Blade Mail before he joins the rest of the boys. But I was really expecting perhaps a little bit more emphasis onto, you know, putting some damage into this tier 2 top.
That's so crazy to see. Triple Midas and one on a support tiny, a 4 tiny.
Let's go.
Like, what are they doing? This is just classic Talon stuff, man. Let's go late game. Let's
ultimate fake and Q, bro.
A lot of people have mentioned, you know, Jabs are very greedy offlaner. You play Ultra Elite, 3 cores. Why not have a 4th core involved as well? So, do a bit of a difference on some of these upcoming fights, Hello, with that 2nd level in the Supernova. We've seen eggs have been very difficult for Talon to address, and I do not think that's really going to change unless it's a poor placement of the egg inside the fights or Savage again uses Song to deal with it.
Once it gets later on, I think they're going to be a lot more capable of doing it. Like, Jabs will probably go maybe a BKB, maybe a Blink Dagger, but I'm expecting an AC to be coming as well in his future, just to be able to provide that little bit of extra attack speed both for himself and the rest of the team, and provide a little bit of extra protection as well against the likes of that CK.
It's a huge...
He's pretty huge himself. He's got 4k HP now on Duraccio, so it was hard to kill him before. Imagine now.
Big boy. You do compare him, though, up against the other carry in Savage. It's about to be a Butterfly, which could be a huge item timing. We have seen he's had some difficulties with, like, entering some of these team fights. But this game has really not changed in regard to the status. We've only got 19 kills, 1,000 net worth lead, and it's been like that for 10+ minutes.
Q once again prioritizing his own mobility. He's got the Ogre Seal Totem as his tier 3 neutral item. So a very nice one to be able to have, just to provide that little bit of extra quick speed to be able to get in with the Blink Dagger, even just as a tool to be able to get out of that calling as well, feels really nice.
Dude, Ace is a Manta queued up. You want your own, like, illusion spam of waves? I can do that too. Radiance Manta. All right. Very interesting.
Universal Hero as well. Feels good.
True. So crazy. All right. I wonder what his item's going to be after that.
His top ward is just out of range as well, yeah. Thank you very much, Buzz, for picking this one up.
What do we feel like is realistic here for Talon to be able to get off the back of the Ages? Who do you even give it to, firstly? Is there a preference?
I don't know, actually. I mean, maybe they feel like Savage needs it just to be able to play aggressively more with this Butterfly that he's freshly picked up, right? Like, if you've got all of this survivability, then you got to do something with it, right? And I feel like he's no stranger to being the one that dives in super deep. It's like they'll be able to get the Wisdom Rune as well. And it always feels like Talon are just waiting for, like, one more item. Yes. One more thing. You know, you can go for a little bit more of an aggressive-oriented draft, but at the end of the day, you're going to default back to what's got you to this stage. And, well, 3 Midases and, you know, a little bit of a slower mid-game really does feel like the Talon way. I'm just a little worried that perhaps when they had that previous big timing up top where there were no ultimates on Gaming Gladiators, that they didn't get enough out of the map. Still though, almost a BKB on Makoto, which will feel real nice for him.
I do like the fact that we see Gem already currently on on Gladiators compared to Radiant. And when it's going to come down to with such an even game on who's going to be able to get that jump, you have some very important heroes in their ultimates, and Talent have this potential to blow them up full from zero. This is a very interesting pathing from Dyrachyo as well. Jabs is about to be cut off. Now, it, of course, does have reincarnation, so the instant rainbow TPs are out.
He's committing?
Dyrachyo did buy the BKB prior, so if required, he can use it to retreat. What is the call?
They're walking through a creep wave.
Savage is charging. Quinn's away from the team as well. You won't have the puck for the moment. It's getting a bit messy, though.
Yeah. I think they're really just wanting to bait out a few of these big team fight ultimates. Both teams acting as that. You know, can we get the song out of them? Can we get the Bruce split out of them? Can we get anything? But neither team is going to be taking the bait.
I see. With those TPs down to bottom, let's see what Gladiators can do on the map now. This is going to give them at least a bit of advantage with their mobility. We do see instantly Talon moving 2 heroes to top.
Yeah. Makes a lot of sense, right? You could sacrifice one lane, but not even that, actually. It's going to be Jabs TPing towards that mid. He is working towards that AC that I was talking about as well. So I really like this. I was considering that because of how effectively he was being controlled in that past fight, that he might be considering a Blink Dagger or a BKB, but this really does feel like A, an egg killer, B, a puck killer with the minus armor, and C, just protection against the Chaos Knight.
One man we haven't spoken about too much this game is Quinn on the puck. Of course, he's a very comfortable hero, master tier with it. We've seen him take over games in the past. The hero that we don't really get too often at the moment in the meta, but he has a very interesting item queued up in the Mjolnir.
Sure. I mean, going up against an Argasar, it always feels pretty good. He's already got that early Aghanim Shard as well, so he's going to be launching out a lot of attacks, getting a lot of those procs, basically guaranteeing a Maelstrom proc every single time that he uses the phase shift. Plus, it's only going to be 1 proc, as a little internal cooldown.
We're going to get a fight, yeah, with this Aegis. It's just not going to be a bunch of posturing and people just farming.
You'd hope so, wouldn't you?
I'd hope so.
I mean, what's Savage got coming out to it? BKB. I mean, if that says, I want to fight, like that is really the one that I'm expecting to see them try and rally around a little bit here on Talon.
They've got to get usage out of this butterfly. Dyrachyo is already halfway towards the MKB. This is a big spike for them. And they currently see Savage away from the team, so they're going to smoke in the opposite direction. Oli might be the first point of contact. He's going to continue running to the left side, so maybe they'll get a juicier kill instead.
Yeah, they've got BKBs though, and they've currently got no way to be able to have that BKB piercing disable right now. Quinn still just at 18.
Seller, detection. That's a little bit... What's the call going to be? Mikoto turns super early use of the egg. They don't really have many heroes to protect them. Mikoto with the alacrity. I mean, it's a big opportunity if Savage wants the song to get some more heroes now. Dai want to fight. They're coming in. Over to the northern side, Dyrachyo assassinated Jabs. So that was a reincarnation used early on as Ace jumps in the middle. Dyrachyo's going to look to get the second life out of Jabs as well as Savage's song will do nothing. 4v4 at the moment. Gladiators, can they look to get more as well as Savage is by himself? Tell they're not in a position to protect him as GG find a big kill. They're going to be able to surround him on this second life, and Quinn will force away the reinforcements. Savage has the BKB to protect himself momentarily, but look at Ace guiding Mikoto on the backline. That sets up for Quinn's jump, and Orchid will prevent the spell casting, but the dead shot drags him back to Dyrachyo, and Ace isn't done just yet. Deep inside the base they go. They might need a toss out. Q, can he protect Savage? They've got the drain. Ollie, he'll keep 23 alive for the moment, but there is going to be no response from Talon, and finally there is a big break from Dire.
There is, and I mean, it's unfortunate. Oh, they're still looking like they want to try fighting here on Savage. Again, the Avatos combo was available. Jabs is coming back up.
Savage, can you fight this? I mean, you really don't want to use this Mikoto buyback. You're relying on Ollie and Tiny to get you out of danger. Savage gets some distance. Quinn's going to jump to the backline as well, but the spell's still on cooldown for Q. Yours in snare. Avalanche is up in a couple seconds. Dyrachyo's going to try and prevent Q from holding Quinn into place. And meanwhile, these buildings are full. They've held the buyback from Mikoto, but there's still a bit of an opportunity to get more kills as Quinn easily jumps and blows up Jabs, and all of a sudden, this game, it's out of control.
Yeah, it's blown wide open, and it goes back to the tiniest of things. They had the glyph for the tier 2 tower that they were fighting underneath. Maybe that extra multi-shot would have also cleared out the creep wave and prevented them from being able to take this tier 3 tower. So little things like that really do add up a whole lot more. They're even able to lay down some vision on this top side of the Radiant base, and they haven't cleared it out just yet. So they know exactly the fact that they are leaving the base. They're not going to be holed up, being played a little scared, and this is really what I was worried about, the fact that with the Aegis, before they hit some of these really scary timings on Gaming Gladiators, they just didn't get enough out of it.
Dude, that was all without an MKB on Duracho. This guy is having an incredible showing. He is nullified Jabs' impact. 2, 6, and 0 from the offlane Wraith King. He's gone for this Radiance, AC queued up, but we haven't felt his impact. And just Duracho is killing him multiple times inside these team fights. He's such a menace. Level 20 now, and with that big item, it does not get easier for Talon.
And you just saw how well Ace was able to deal with the Naga illusions as well, right? Like he's probably as tanky as he's gonna get on 23 Savage. Like he's going into a Scythe next. This isn't a Skadi game for the Naga Siren, right? You're farmed enough. You need to be able to do some damage rather than just be survivable. But it takes so much damage from that Dispel Magic from the Brewmaster.
And dude, they killed the egg without anyone else there. Like that start of the fight for Talon where you didn't have to commit too heavily to get a big hero. Like it's not only the egg, but it's the Sunray as well from Celery. But we might see have a lot of impact inside this smoke engagement. Not a lot of heroes in Savage. That's the real Naga. Duke Savage pops the BKB, no messing around. He bought out too. This is a Hex now completed for 23.
It's also a Mjolnir now finished up by Quinn. That damage from the puck is going to be super significant. He's got an AC coming out to him as well on the Brew. What did he basically buy? Octarine, never mind.
Dude, he's so farmed.
Yeah.
Oh my god, Quickening Charm on top of it. One of the better neutral items for the Brewmaster.
Wouldn't hate seeing an Axe from him just to have that permanent Storm Brewling out.
So it's
just taking over the map.
They are not stopping as well. Double siege wave. A force Talon back to base.
Even an aggressive glyph coming through here, wanting to protect this wave as much as possible.
Seen previously, the teamfight ultimates have been disastrous for Talon inside the fight. They're going to jump Jabs again to start. Should be able to kill the first life without committing too heavily. What can Talon do to protect Jabs on the respawn? Get some separation to the right side. There's the song. They can help protect Jabs, but do they go back in afterwards?
Got a toss on Q.
They're so hesitant.
They're not going to get anything.
Oh, wow. I mean, this is just some incredible 5v5 team for gaming. We're seeing these big ultimates just be such a concern for Talon. They don't have ways to address them at the moment. They're going to try and make a fight occur with your Phantasm split on cooldown, but these are for 40 seconds.
They smoked under the ward.
Okay.
They know it's coming. They're just backing off completely. Might even be looking to go through the Twin Gate and get the hell out of there, but looks like it's the high ground that they're wanting to play around, banking on the fact that Roshan might have respawned. It's a really long one. Probably the longest they could have possibly hoped for on Gaming Gladiators, and you don't want to walk up into this.
Quinn's in a great spot. Pops the smoke, gets the information. They're going to use the ward as well. Q will find a pretty good initiation onto the Phoenix. There's just no follow-up.
No boys.
Salary's okay. Q's jumped into the lion's den, and Talon don't want to follow him to death. They'll look to retreat to the southern side. Duracho's gone far too forward. It's a big go to the chaos side if they're going to be able to find it. A supernova dropped on the Egg. They're going to try and turn to deal with the Egg. I don't know if they got the right clicks. Egg will pop at the last second. Makoto's in some danger. Duracho with the instant buyback into the middle, but Savage, he'll give them an opportunity to retreat. Ace, he actually cancelled the TP. The Brewling stops Savage from getting out. They cannot chase the Naga Siren down to the south. Quinn, he got Makoto as well. A disastrous fight. The buyback from Duracho, huge. The Egg even better. And now Gaming Gladiators can look to walk it down and go for the finishing blow. Savage wants to bring one man to the grave, but he won't even do that.
They got absolutely nothing left as well. Q doing his best to try and delay the push, but Ace is everywhere, man. Topping the net worth for Gaming Gladiators right now, and he's being the absolute bane of this Naga Siren's existence.
Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
no song save, no Naga illusions in the early game, even just the Radiance for that aspect there.
2 fights apparently is all you need, especially with the caliber of this team. You give them an advantage and they will completely take over the map and not look back from there. About to be mega creeps for Talon to deal with.
They're going to hold on, but still another 20 seconds until you're going to get any sort of cause back into this game. And they went for a slightly more aggressive route, but then the greed took over. The classic mentality of wanting to go into that late game. SEA plays it better than a lot of other teams and a lot of other regions, but it's just not enough.
Shaz is like, take my life instead. But they will just turn to the throw. Makoto's back. You've got, Savage in fight, but it's far too long. Couple seconds too long. In fact, in gaming, Gladiators will be rewarded with their gameplay with a first map victory 39 minutes in.
And it's a convincing one as well, right? It seemed pretty even in the early-ish game. They got off to a good start, but man, it just goes to show why these guys have won pretty much every LAN that they've attended this year. What is that, an 80% success rate, just coming in 4th at Riyadh, knocked out by these boys on Talon. But other than that, it has been pretty solid all around. Ollie, just the blank 1,000-yard stare coming through. He knows that they had the opportunity to be able to come into this game, and that Wraith King in the offlane didn't work out quite as well as they were expecting.
No, it did not at all. Unfortunately, we weren't. You want to compare Ace to Jabs on this Brewmaster hero that has, we've seen had a lot of success in this, so far, road to the international in the previous tournaments before it as well. Ace and the boys need a couple of fights to be able to get this game 1 victory, and in the end, they looked incredibly clean with all their team fighting spells. So Gladiators, a game advantage. Let's see what the panel has to say about it, though.
Game and Gladiators claim game 1 here against the side of Talent Esports, getting a little bit of revenge for what happened at the Riyadh Masters. However, the most interesting thing about this is the triple strength heroes that they utilized. But we're going to break it down, find out exactly what happened. And to do so, I've got some double strength boys, the big beefy homies. Lizard, Gods, what's happening? Gods, talk to me about this game, right? Greed is good? 9999999?
Look, they're going to work on whatever cheat codes they're putting in, because all the Midases and gold in the world couldn't save them here. It just felt like their timings were all off. Like, you have this Naga, and then everyone else is like, let's get Midases because this game's going to drag. Yep. But then suddenly Naga's ready to fight, and you've got 3 teammates with a Midas. It's like, you look around and it's like all this gold and not into items that help you fight.
It's like that catch-22, right? Like, your Naga isn't ready to fight, so you're buying a Midas, but once you have that Midas, your Naga is ready to fight, but you aren't because you have a Midas, right? Yeah. At least it was minute 25 Midas, not minute 35. Mm-hmm. However, the team that did buy it on a support lost again in like 5 to 10 minutes.
Yeah, seems to be the case that you have to be a bit more active, right? I mean, we saw today when we see teams like Liquid, teams like the side of Team Spirit earlier on, always very active items. Maybe it's a damage item here or there, but nonetheless something that'll do something immediately once you purchase it.
Yeah, and I think one of the big interesting things for me with this game is, they had all these Midases and that limited the gold they had to fight. But even without the Midases, I think we just saw that there was a draft in the game in Gladiator side that was going to be hard to beat. I was looking at this they're kind of just getting away with farming and all these cores. Talon, surely they're just going to win this game with Naga. Wraith King's got Midas, Invoker's a good late game hero. But they just had no way to ever team fight. The Brewmaster plus Phoenix Puck. There was one fight that Phoenix went in and popped Supernova and it instantly died to an Invoker Alacrity, but they still dominated the team fight because they have so much other tools to use. They have the Primal Split, they have the Puck Coil. There was just no way that Talon, regardless of items, could ever actually win a team fight.
It was one of those difficult situations where, sometimes I look at games and you ask, what can you do, right, in a losing scenario? What happens if things aren't going perfectly? And like God said, not only was there not that much team fight available for Talent, but Lizard damage as well was a bit of a problem for Talent Esports.
I don't know. Maybe this Naga was the crucial problem for them, the way they played around her. Maybe not the hero itself, but the way they played, because they got pretty much every, when the draft concluded, remember what we were talking about, they got every hero that they usually pick, like Pugna's hero they picked in the last 5 games. Yeah. Tiny, they are the only team that really shines on him as well. Invoker is usually banned out against Mikoto. They got everything they wanted, but it doesn't really mesh up together. The Pugna usually has a different mid, like a Storm or a Bristle on offlane, something that he can use himself as a battery for, right? In this game, there's nothing of such sort. Wraith King, Naga, not really. So they had some issues here, and perhaps the cohesion of the heroes wasn't as strong as usual.
Yeah, even the Invoker, like who you putting the Alacrity on, like it doesn't really
on
work
himself.
Naga. Yeah, yeah, it worked out to kill the egg once, but it's not. They didn't really have the synergy to win the game with their draft as much as it looked like. Oh, you put these 5 heroes together, as you said, and it's like their comfort zone. But
yep. I feel like if they had something different than a Naga, maybe they could have snowballed the game, because that's something that their heroes do extremely well. You have this Pugna that's constantly hitting the tower, constantly blasting it, right? And if you try to poke, defend, there's always Tiny to rotate behind, toss someone back, catch them. It's really difficult to deal with, but you don't have a carry. You're waiting for that carry to get farm. And once he did get like Manta Orchid, it wasn't really that useful in fights.
Let's talk about the team that obviously won the game. Game and Gladiators 1-0 up right now, a step closer towards getting themselves into their playoff berth in the upper bracket. This Muerta of theirs has been... Yep. This needs to go away. This has to be banned out. Not just for the scaling later on in the game, but there was some point where he got a kill on 23 Savage in the laning phase. And I was like, wow, Muerta does a lot of damage. My goodness, you need some kind of plan to deal with this. And so far, we haven't really seen a plan from any of the teams that have allowed it to go through here in the playoffs.
Yeah, you have this hero, you can just first pick it. If it's a good carry, Muerta game, you play as the carry. Otherwise, it pairs with any of your kind of classic offlaners here. It gave Brewmaster the best like game and lane possible. The Brewmaster was doing so much, and it was in large part due to that Muerta. That hero just has a dominant laning stage, and I don't know what... There aren't really any obvious picks, I feel like, that give the Muerta a hard time in lane.
Yeah, I feel that both teams really got what they wanted, but we might not see Muerta or Brewmaster in the next upcoming match. Because, yeah, you gave away the Pugna and Tiny won against them. You can leave them in again. But Brew, man... Muerta enabled him, sure, but that hero is just way too difficult to deal with. Once he gets the Octarine core, he has his Brewlings every single fight. Yep. It's very difficult to play.
And I believe they picked up the Brew pretty late in the draft, right?
Yep.
Okay. So that to me is kind of crazy, because they had a lot of bans later on.
23 Brew, yeah. I suspect maybe Talent Esports might have actually wanted to have the Brew themselves, right? You're playing into the CK. It felt like they were angling in that direction. And we saw the last pick on the Naga took a really long time. I think they were like, oh, crap. You know that situation that happens, you're angling for one certain pick, it goes away, the entire plan is upended, you have to start from scratch now. Because I'm pretty sure, looking at the way that the game unfolded, not so sure that they had the Wraith King offlane in plan from the start.
Yeah, I think they drafted really well until maybe that Naga pick, because having the flex between Wraith King being either safe lane or off lane is amazing, because you get to that 24th pick, the final pick of the draft, where you see the entire me team, and you can pick so many more heroes when you have that flexibility of the Wraith King. So maybe the plan was to pick an offlaner like a Brewmaster and then have maybe a bit more of an aggressive, well-rounded draft. But at the same time, it's talent. They love playing 50, 60-minute games. They like greedy carries. I just don't think Naga was the right greedy carry to pick there.
Yeah, feels like Naga does end up falling off a little bit too often, so we do not have a victory for Talent Esports to bring you. It's Game and Gladiators, who are ascendant right now and are one step closer to progressing into the playoffs in the upper bracket side of things, where they will already find some pretty cool contemporaries. Liquid, Spirit have already made their way into that side of things, and of course we saw Virtus Pro dispatching TSM later. It's only one game up though, and unfortunately for Talent, it has been 2-0s the entire way. But if there is a team that I would probably back to be able to come back after a difficult loss, it'll probably be in Talent, because they make a habit of it and they've done it throughout the entire year.
It happened kind of recently, didn't it?
Yeah, Riyadh.
Yeah. Well, some very hot lands, it happened.
What happened during the group stage?
Yeah.
This tournament.
They
started
0-4. The next game 4-0.
Yeah. No, this is a team that knows how to bounce back. They've had some, very, very painful losses. So, I don't think they're a team that gets completely rattled. They've played it, and they've got a lot of experience at this point. I think, Sambi as a coach has been kind of in the hot seat when it comes to the SEA Dota region. He's been the premier coach of the region for the longest time. So he's the kind of guy that you love to have on your side when it comes to kind of bouncing back from a game like this.
Yeah, they went from 0-4 to 4-4 in the group stages. They can definitely at least even out this series, right?
And what are we making of Game and Gladiators? We saw in that video earlier on that Quinn was mentioning that the atmosphere internally within the team isn't as commanding as it was when they were on top of the world. Looking at the game so far, at the beginning of the group stage, it was still a little bit shaky. What do we make of it here, Lizard? From day one until now, is Gaming back to their former glory states?
I'm not so sure. I still feel it's a little bit shaky. It's not as, one team... It's going to be funny to say because they just lost, but EG, when I look at them, they have a lot of flair. They make some mistakes here and there, but they're playing the game in their own way. That's what I saw from GG before. They would always play on their in their own fashion, on their own way. Here, I feel like, yeah, they have some heroes like Muerta on position 4 on Tofu, but I don't feel the same commanding force that they had throughout the season. That's why they didn't really win the last couple of tournaments, right?
How do you think they need to fix, gods, in order to get to that point in time? Because let's be honest, you need that kind of force of nature if you want to go far in the international.
Yeah, I think a part of it is about maybe refining like an identity that works for them, because a lot of their dominance, was earlier towards those, first couple of majors, and since then with the patch changes, it felt like they came in with this group stage with a few different heroes and ideas that didn't instantly find them success. Then they kind of resorted to like spamming some stuff like Necro for Quinn. So it seems like figuring out what their hero pool is going to be, what their best strats are going to be, because it feels like we've seen just a lot of different looks from them game to game, and not like one key idea of like, this is who we are, this is how we're going to win games.
Yep, that's the one thing we need to see more of from the side of Gaming Gladiators if they want to return to their former glory and have a shot at claiming an Aegis, the first one for everybody involved in the roster. But they can't count their chickens before they hatch, remember? We are still in the seeding round of the group stages. This just determines where you start in the playoffs next weekend. We still are on the road to the international, so a lot of work to be done. And what do you gentlemen think? Which kind of teams benefit the most from this more elongated schedule that we have for this year's international?
I think the teams who just rely less on like the momentum, because the breaks mean you have more time to kind of sit back and study. So the teams with, every team has coaches these days, but I think some of the more analytical teams kind of like Gaming Gladiators, like Tundra, can do very well. I think some of those maybe like Eastern European teams who just ride the wave, like the Spirit lower bracket run, it's a lot harder to do that because, I think Spirit's one of the top teams here. They don't need the momentum necessarily. But in the past, past TIs, you've had teams who just ride through the lower bracket and just playing day after day and they just keep winning. But now you get these 3-4 days off. I think momentum plays less
you get to shake them up a little bit in pubs, tip them in pubs a little bit. I don't know, maybe Thundra are gonna overthink things. They're such nerds in this game, right? That they're gonna make so many grand ideas that they might even clash at the end. I'm just kidding. I'm sure that they'll do just fine.
One of the things that I have noticed very well coming out of Gaming Gladiators when they play Dota, just before we went to the game itself, we're talking about Boxy, right? And how good his positioning on the map can be. When gaming is at their best, it almost feels like they're playing with hacks. Like they know where you're going to be ahead of time. And I remember when Quinn was speaking about the new map, do you think that might be the issue, that they haven't yet fully mastered the map to the degree where they can make those 100% analytical, predictive moves, and then that's the reason why they're not shining as easily?
Maybe they have demanded that statement already in the last game. If you think about a couple of movements that they've made without any words, without any vision, I believe teams are adapting to everything that Valve, that Ice Rock throws at them way too fast now. Like, I don't even know what you can change for teams to take more than a couple of months to adapt to. Just remember 23 Savage in this last match on Naga Siren using that scan into the song, but also remember that those two that have smoked went exactly for him. They knew exactly where he was. So
yeah, it was almost very impressive by Gladiators that they knew where to find him, but then just as much, 23 read the move and saw it coming. So, the map is bigger. It feels like, you're not going to be able to get away with all this greedy farming on Nagas and TBs and stuff. But like we saw it earlier today with Shopify and Arteezy, he was farming Ancients and constantly would get hunted down as if Spirit knew exactly where he is. So even with the bigger map, there obviously is a lot more to farm.
How do you feel about that, by the way? Your NA is a bit in shambles. Are you okay?
Look, NA, we love farming neutral creeps. Pick up the Wraith King, get the Scaly Boys.
So you don't need the Aegis as long as the creeps are killed?
Yes, exactly.
Okay, is there some extra reward for most GPM, most creeps killed?
Look, all I'm saying is when Iron Talon comes back, NA is rising back to the top.
NA is not the only greedy region that exists in the world. Talent Esports, the sole representatives of Southeast Asia, played a very greedy game one, and it didn't necessarily go according to plan. Let's find out if they'll be a bit more reserved and can find the answer to unlock Gaming Gladiators yet again as we go into our second game between these two. And to bring you that action, we have Aries and Daynark. Australian boys, take it away.
Boys, what is up? We've got Daynark and Aries here again to cover game number 2 of Gaming Gladiators versus Talent Esports. And, well, game 1, it was looking really damn even until about that 34-minute mark, wasn't it? Literally neck and neck in terms of both net worth, win probability, everything. But it just took one fight from Gaming Gladiators to really kick the door down, take out that first set of racks, and then it felt like Talon were on the back foot. If they're going for this pick-off style draft, they can't allow that to happen. They got to always be planned for a little bit ahead, because at the end of the day, if you get to late game, team fight wins Dota. And, well, we'll see how that's going to be impacted with this second draft. Exactly the same setup. Radiant again for Talon, Gaming Gladiators with the first pick once again.
We see no Phoenix this time as well. So that one is going to be taken out of the arsenal here from Gaming Gladiators. Had a very good showing out of Celery. And overall at TI, Denok, we have seen there has not been a team that has won the international starting in the lower bracket. Gladiators, they're one game away of putting Talon down there, and it would be a miracle run. You don't have to go through the best of ones anymore, but they are still way too many series. And again, we have not seen a team win out of the lower bracket. Gladiators, this is a very commanding position. Has to be a lot of confidence now with their capability to be able to go up against Talon, one of the better 5v5 teams.
Surely they banned the Muerta here, man. Surely. Like, you know that Gaming Gladiators are going to pick it first. It's been their most picked hero by far, but they're going to prioritize the Brewmaster. You know what? Fine. I thought that Ace was the MVP for the team last game, but I feel like you've just got so much flexibility on Gamer to be able to make this work for Tofu. Again, both with who's playing it as well as the item build. It was a new one. I don't think he's built Lotus so far this tournament. Maybe once, actually. Yeah, he went Lotus and 4-staff, but this time it was an urn into a Lotus Orb. So again, just something slightly different from him, perfectly fitting what is required for them this game. And you can see he's the one having a lot of discussions with the rest of the team right now, because clearly his hero is going to be one that comes up pretty early into this draft.
And overall, there's a lot of differences with Talon's ban, right? You got 3 heroes in the previous game that Gaming Gladiators had, and previously it was the Spirit Breaker, Pango, and the Primal Beast that was banned out. So there is one of them that Talon banned prior. But you've got the Pango, which of course we see in first phase often. The Primal Beast is available. That is going to be the response from Gladiators. Talon, is this hero that kind of prevents the Pugna? I don't know. I was very impressed with Ollie's laning stage with the Pugna. I don't know maybe if the Primal Beast just incredibly high amount of magic damage is a deterrent to the hero, or if they still feel like overall it's super strong.
Yeah, I wonder what they're going to go here. I mean, you could consider going something like maybe an Enchantress to be able to counter this. Ollie plays that pretty well as well. Yep. You could consider maybe a Dark Willow. You could consider a Rubik as a possibility, but they're just going to go Bristleback instead. You know what? If it gets let through, why not go down that sort of route? And it really did feel like Jabs with that Wraith King probably had the lowest impact of the previous game. You can't do too much as a Wraith King in the off lane if you don't get off to an amazing start, and then going Radiant Midas, basically trying to act as a position 1. We could see there with the kill score 3, 7, and 0. It wasn't what you were expecting to see from him, but I love seeing him on a few more of these active style heroes. When they really started to get the W's on the board, it was when he was playing the Bristle, the Dawn, like these sorts of heroes that are able to really just be on the front foot.
Really intrigued on how they look to protect the Bristleback with only one of these bans. So I really would like an AA banned out. AA Primal Beast sounds very scary with the potential of just getting kills across the map and guaranteeing the, of course, ultimate. I mean, already you have this kind of half built-in break with the Primal Beast where eventually you will be able to go down that Scepter route. So let's see how else they're looking to try and deal with the offlane Bristle, because so far Savage hasn't played it.
And I'd be expecting as well Gaming Gladiators to be hoping that Necro ends up making its way through, right? Percent damage is feeling really good for them right now. Of course, they don't want to do it too early into the draft, because if you just get, Spirit Vessel and Nullifier, then it becomes a whole lot more challenging. But if they don't pick up a Nullifier builder, then you're going to be feeling very happy about being able to secure it for themselves. And they're actually going to be the ones to get rid of the Shadow Demon. Has one of the worst win rates so far in the tournament, despite a lot of picks. Granted, they were by, some of the teams that have already been knocked out, most of them. But against the Primal Beast, it really does prevent a lot of that consistent charging in, which Ace loves to do. So they're willing to forego it in their draft, despite it being a hero that both Celery and Tofu have super high potential to play. And Muerta's still in, man.
Okay. Definitely a lot of options still available here. So you only got one.
Anything that could force movement is always going to be a good thing, right? Because that's the thing that you want against the Bristleback. You want break and you want predictability. And I feel like predictability is exactly what you get with someone like the Muerta, right? We even saw, just lay down the calling. What are you supposed to do? You can't cast your spells if you're constantly having to run through the calling spirits.
Hawk ban. Obviously felt like the matchup prior little bit messy for Makoto, so he will go back for his ever so comfort Invoker. See how Quinn wants to try and play into it. Now, the Conquer previously was banned out to protect the Invoker, which was the first phase from Talon, so this is available if you want to consider it on gaming. Could be, I don't know, maybe have the same heroes with Primal and Conquer, like they do very similar things, but it is your like traditional counter, or at least good matchup versus Invoker.
I mean, Quinn could potentially TA here as well, right? Like up against the... Oh, okay. Well, no, they can't. But it would have been pretty good against the Invoker as well as the Bristleback. What else could he be considering? I mean, I know historically Quinn really hasn't rated the Sniper, but he picked it up earlier in this tournament and he looked pretty decent on it as well. It was a stomp when they were able to secure that for the team. So maybe that's something that he's considering right now, just something that's able to stay as far away as possible from that Bristleback. You know, you've already got a tanky frontliner in the Primal Beast to be able to play around with.
You brought up before about the Necro potential later in the draft. I do wonder, like, if the Invoker is a bit of a deterrent just because of, you know, the capability to get rid of the Ghost Shroud, so maybe that's something you're considering on Talon. And, well, Gladiators...
Honestly, why are you picking Pango in 2023? Honestly, like, pick a real hero.
What are you trying to say? It's just... what are you trying to say? And it's just
I'm saying if win rate is horrible, and if you pick Pango in pubs, no. Get rid of it, get rid of it. They've also got a great hero to be able to pair together with it, right? In the Keeper of the Light. Both for the lane, you know, the Primal Beast is going to love that Chakra Magic for the cooldown reduction, as well as the Quinn Pango once the lanes start to break down. So I like this combination. One of the positive sides, I think it was Gods that mentioned it on the panel, is that now you actually do have an Alacrity, someone that wants Alacrity in the Bristleback, right? Like, he just needs that little bit of extra movement speed to be able to chase people down. Of course, the Quills are going to be what's doing the majority of the work for you. But the downside is you can get away with like 33 and collapse build of going for just the 1 point in the Bristleback passive so that it procs more often. But I think they've got a lot of damage, so I don't know if you can actually afford to do that, right? Like, you're going to need to really relish this window that you're going to have up until the Primal Beast has the Aghanim Scepter and really be that frontliner for your team.
Dude, where's all their reserve time gone? They are still... Second phase, only 2 picks, down to 7 seconds for Talon, so isn't a lot of time early on to be able to work out what they want to go for. They will actually pick up the Ancient Apparition, so of course, I mean... Going to be very nice versus the Primal Beast. Let's see. I cannot go something like a Chaos Knight versus Primal and Pango, which is definitely one of the better lanings. It's banned actually anyway, so never mind. So,
10 seconds.
Do you feel like it's even like you need a stun for Cold Feet? Because I know that used to be the big thing in the past.
Seconds remaining.
Could just be like slows being enough, so considering maybe a lifestealer or something like that. No, they're just going to go back for the Q Tusk for now. But again, it's a double melee, and this is something that Gaimin haven't revealed their safe lane at all, so they could basically just pick whatever heroes that they want to be able to abuse this lane, whether like maybe they go and ench themselves just to be able to have that extra little bit of survivability, to be able to harass from afar. We know how great Celery is at the Enchantress, probably one of his best heroes, so I really wouldn't hate seeing him pick something like that up. Warlock, Jakiro, they're great options.
Are you ever considering
that's what they're going to go?
Are you ever considering it like a saving support? Because at the moment, you're telling AFL the entire time has always been like stun into Ice Blast, and if you have someone to disrupt that, it can kind of minimize his impact.
Maybe just someone that builds force stuff as well, right? Like, well, what stuns do they actually have? And they're actually going to pick the PA now. All right, sure. Dorachio's had pretty good success over the years on this hero, and it's another break against the Bristleback. Also, you know, up against an AA, you could two-shot the AA unless you get really lucky with some of those neutral item drops. So we're going to be looking out for Glimmer Capes, no, Gossamer Capes once again, just to be able to provide a little bit of a reprieve there.
I mean, again, brought up before, but I don't think you can be looking at the Naga because of the Primal Beast Pango to deal with the illusions. CK is not a potential. Definitely limits some of the heroes that Savage is going to be able to play in this matchup.
To me, it really does just feel like an Enchantress is what they're wanting here, right? Like something that you've got a PA so that you can, if the carry gets into a bad spot, you can always just Phantom Strike back to safety if you get blocked off by Ice Shards. And again, you're up against 2 melee, so someone that's relatively survivable. And Shakira is pretty survivable as well, right? Really high stats that you get across levels. You know, dual breath against 2 melee heroes always going to feel really good. Mentioned it before. And they've got a decent amount of control as well. So that macro pie would have given them a lot of value. Even a little bit of tower push as well.
What do we think about the Venge as well now with PA? We've seen previously like Venge PA. Celery's played it twice.
Lucky shot.
Yep.
Also more potential predictability with the bristleback, right? Swap him into the middle, get a pulverize off onto him, and yeah, gives him a lot of trouble. That's why they ban it out. Good call.
So the only other hero Celery's currently played is the Warlock.
Yep. Warlock Hench. They're my 2 options. So let's have a little think for Talon, what they're considering. So when you think about what's going to have a decent enough time against the PA, excuse me, are they going to consider something like a Sven? You know, like something that provides a little bit of armor for the team, something that can buy a Blink Dagger and potentially blow up the Pango before the roll starts, coddle before he's able to get back to safety, as well as, again, you've got Alacrity to be able to provide. So they go ahead and ban it out. See, we're both calling things, man. We're getting it.
I'll say that hero is kind of doo-doo at the moment, though. 39% win rate might even be lower after that previous game loss as well.
Yeah, but Pango's lower as well.
Yeah, yeah, no, I mean,
yeah,
it is indeed still getting picked. I'm dying.
Okay, I forgot about this hero altogether. You talked about wanting that saving support as well. The grab ally is still going to be a factor up against the Ice Blast if Celery is on point with his positioning. This is actually a fantastic dying pick. We just haven't really seen it.
10 seconds remaining.
Now you need a tombstone hitter too. Do you go Lifestealer? But then the carry matchup is horrible.
I don't know if you can Terrorblade as well. It's Primal matchup can go back and forth with Pango. Let's see. It's, of course, a classic. We got a... Whoa. I mean, this is...
Okay.
Rupture, Pango, Primal. I mean, this is a big thing. You know, also, Phantom Assassin needs to be super mobile. But we have not seen a lot of Bloodseeker. In fact, let me find out how many games. One? Okay.
1, and it was a loss that's been played. And I'm honestly very surprised. You know, with all these beefy boys coming to the front, I was expecting, you know, the Aghanim Scepter as well as the Aghanim Shard to really give a ton of value. You know, is it 2% still, or is it slightly less? The steal that you get from every hit. I think it's like 1.8 maybe or something like that. But effectively, I feel like the reason that it hasn't been picked up too much is that a lot of these heroes just hit their timings a little bit earlier than what a Bloodseeker can respond to, right? Like, you only really become effective against the beefy boys once you get Phase Boots, Maelstrom, BKB, and then you can look to go for it, because you just can't fight at all without the BKB. At least now, prior to that point, you've got answers to the likes of the Pangolier, the Primal, and the Phantom Assassin. It literally Rupture counters all 3 of these heroes. It's just, can you get to that point where you truly do feel effective? And again, this is Savage's 10th game and his 10th unique hero. So I'm loving seeing the versatility come through. Makoto doesn't seem too happy about having to play the Invoker again, but Jabs is just full on focus.
Really intrigued to see how this Bloodseeker lane is actually going to be able to go, because I know there was a big nerf with...
Look at these jump cuts.
We get to see
all the boys.
Quick little...
The reformed man himself.
We're all...
PMA only, Lockie.
Of course. The only choice is PMA.
Mm-hmm.
Intrigued to see how this Bloodseeker lane is going to go, right? With some of the changes we saw in the past. I mean, that was, I think, was a big reason. You know, we've seen Bloodseeker be super strong in the lane, just your Blood Rat capability with the support. It's a lot of damage, ridiculous amount, even just level 1. But I know the Thirst, like, lifesteal was reduced pretty heavily, and this is a lane with Primal Beast and Coddle. They can do a lot of nuke potential early on, so I think that's going to be a pretty volatile lane.
And you're playing with an AA as well, right? So it's not even like you've got that set up for the Blood Right to make the lane a little bit easier for yourself. Kind of similar thing with the AA. You don't have a core to be able to set yourself up for the cold feed as well. So I wonder if Ollie's skill build is going to be a little bit different here for the lane. Obviously, the great equalizer of everything, the Blood Grenade, is going to help them out a little bit. You know, the Ice Vortex plus the Blood Grenade plus the Blood Right, that's a lot of blood right there, is going to give them a little bit of a hand. And you never know. Anytime I see a Tusk, there's always the potential for that early try lane to be able to possibly get that first blood. And Q's the one leading the charge now into Gaming Gladiators territory.
Yeah, it's a different read from Dire. Going to go down to the south side instead, and Talon looking to play very aggressive into the jungle. So we won't have, I mean, last time we didn't have a first blood. We're very close to it though, but either side will get themselves set up. How do we feel about this draft as a whole? Do we feel like GG have the potential to be able to find this 2-0 and book the ticket into the upper bracket, or can Talon send us to our first game 3 of the day?
I was really preferring Gaming Gladiators draft up until that Bloodseeker. So, like, the 23 Savage, if they're going to win this game, it's completely on him. So if he's able to get enough space made for him so that he can get into that trio of items that I was talking about, Phase Boots, Maelstrom, BKB, that's not enough. He needs the Aghanim Shard on top of that, then into the Aghanim Scepter. And then we'll see what they're capable of doing. I'm just a little worried about, you know, having to contend against the likes of this break coming through from the Primal, the break coming through from the PA, and the really strong lanes that you've got in both of the side lanes.
Q in trouble? Tofu should be able to get that blinding light pushed back. They're going to have a lot of slows as well. Jabs is actually coming back in, but I don't know if there's much that Talon can do to get Q out of danger. They might be able to get a return kill. Quill's also taking a lot of damage, and the Quills are starting to stack up. Celer is also in some danger.
They going to get away? Oh, they didn't commit onto one of them. They just got Delta split on.
Who got the first blow? Was Celery?
Yeah. Same as last game. So both position 5s, love and life, being able to come into it with this one. And we were talking about the potential for the tri-lanes. I don't think Tofu's going to completely commit, and he does end up TPing on out. This is definitely a magic wand lane, if I've ever seen one on the top side. PA are dying.
Bottom lane, Ollie. I ended up going down. Please just that up roll right click far out. His positioning is going to be really, really important in this lane.
And he just TP'd there, man.
Okay.
So now he doesn't have that for the next 45 seconds. So Savage is here on his own. He's going to need to manipulate this lane solo to be able to make sure that he's able to get a lot of these easy last hits for starters. They weren't able to block off the small camp, so he's able to clear this quickly enough. Might be able to get the pull, but it's the worst possible one that he could have hoped for, the Kobold camp. Double silence, nicely done.
How do we feel about this top lane real quick? Because the Undying is a hero that we've seen fallen off pretty heavily with some of the nerfs. The Decay 13-second cooldown, which was a big one. It is, of course, against that strength hero being Jabs. They've got the level 2 and they're ready to go, but
TP
instant TP up.
early. Yeah.
Q, he's got some stick charges, so he's going to be okay as well. We've still got the zombies to prove to be a bit of an issue, but it's only a little bit of chip damage. But with Tombstone used, they're still putting a lot of pressure on with this extra level.
Why not? You know, you want to take advantage of every single opportunity that you can. There's that early point into the Bristleback, and I really feel like Jabs... Does he need to just be survivable, or does he need to kill people? That's the thing that I'm considering early on, right? You know that Savage is going to be able to do the killing if it gets late enough, so maybe you do just go into the classic build and you do max out the Bristle.
Speaking of Savage, he's in some danger. Tofu actually doesn't look for the blinding light. It's going to use it to push him away instead. It's poke.
Already been given a couple of tangos over by Ollie. Realizing that he might need to move a little bit further away. He needs to just focus on a little bit more attention onto Tofu. And this is what I was talking about in terms of like the skill build, right? If you do have someone with a stun or with a lot more magic damage, maybe you do go the Ice Vortex or the Cold Feet. But I really feel like we might see a few more points of the Chilling Touch from Ollie in this particular lane, just because there really is no setup at all, considering they've used the Blood Grenade and they have no other ways to be able to slow them enough.
Bit of a fight. Actually, no fight. Looks like Talon's going to be able to get both of the Lotuses. Side lanes. Meanwhile, of course, we're going to have a lot of action from top and bottom. We will take a look at how mid's going at the moment with Makoto and Quinn. I will hold that because bottom action continues. Never mind. Savage going to stand strong. They feed the Lotus, and if required, he's got a Fairy Fire as well. Tofu tries to body block, but now he's going to be in trouble too. Blinding Light pushed away. It won't do anything. Savage easily able to chase him down. Now top lane as well. Q's got the snowball to close the distance. Doesn't drag in Jabs. He's trying to deal with the...
neutral creep.
Dude, what?
What
the
a
Raj here. Well done.
Means maybe slightly longer on the deck than we would have previously liked, and might allow Talon to be able to get this stacked pull of the hard camp over to the left-hand side. So it's not like the lane is going to get any easier, but at least he won't lose too much farm from this existing creep wave as Savage getting dived once again. There's action all across the map. It's what Talon are really wanting, right? Because this is going to allow the Bloodseeker to just get so much more active with that thirst, with the bonus movement speed.
And again, we have two mid laners.
Phase Boots coming out too.
Makoto and Quinn can be very active. It does look like Makoto 25-5 compared to the 20-2. So both sides having a pretty good start as well early on.
Going to need even more tangos on this bottom side. Tofu's been doing a really good job of just making sure that Savage is getting harassed with high frequency.
What really
acting as a roaming ward is Ollie, just making sure to see where exactly Ace is. Oof, just dodging out there. Look at this. Ace is no cares. Ollie's like, kill me instead. I'm the one that you want, but it is not. It is 23 Savage that it is priority number one. Even moving down towards the bottom side is Tofu getting hit a little bit by some of these creeps. You'd hate to get hit by that purge from the Satyr Banisher. Might get a D-ward off. Never mind, it's denied.
Oh no, Roche. Oh no, Roche. Oh my god, surely not. Alright.
He just wanted to be part of it too, you know? There's a bit of a quiet start. They didn't even do Roche last game, did they? I was like, you know what, I'm part of this series too.
Let me get involved.
Oh, they did it once. Naga got it.
Alright, well, nice timing for Roche to help out Tofu with getting denied. We'll see where he's going to look to try and TP back to if he wants to refill Quinn's bottle. Wants to go down to that bottom lane. Looks like it will be the play to mid. Might even stick around as well. Drop a ward, try and secure this next power rune. We already see Q starting to make his way over.
Placing that nice high ground vision as Tofu might potentially reveal that he has the potential to drop down a nice blinding light, pushing Ollie back up onto the high ground and oof, just placing that fresh ward as well.
Q should be fine to be able to get the snowball off to dodge the rolling thunder. They might even turn over to the right side. Tofu is in some trouble. Ollie and Mikoto hand in hand should be able to bring down the support on Gladiators. There will be a response though. Pretty good shards, Quinn nonetheless. Swashbuckle at the ready. He's going to be able to guarantee the power rune is an illusion, which is quite nice. First Invoker early on as well.
For sure. Just means a little bit less potential for these supports to have to rotate towards the mid lane. Celery just ended up walking down here. He didn't use the TP for that purpose. And what you really want to do is be trying to stick into one of these side lanes as much as possible. Just keep the pressure moving up there. Looks like you might even be starting to build up a few stacks for both, well, honestly, all three cores on Gaming Gladiators are great stack takers.
Arachio's in some trouble. These quills up to 4 now, especially with Q here. He's got a career wave coming shortly. You see Jabs is angling to the right side to be able to follow in pursuit. And the shards locks him into place. And this is going to be a catapult wave as well. So this damp tower will take a lot of damage off the back of that kill from Talon.
Really does feel like a much more jab style of hero, doesn't it? The Bristleback, you're able to be tanky by the Vanguard, be up in their face and use your ability to outskill people. There's not too much outskilling that goes on with a Wraith King.
No, that dude's just a brute. Shen strong, maybe base some spells. So are they going to be able to kill him a second time? Arachio straight back into the lane. You're going to need some mass TPs out of Gladiators. They will come through the form of Ace along with Celery.
I mean, these are big TPs right now. Savage has this time to be able to play solo. Ollie able to dodge out that onslaught. Is he going to get away? Surely not.
Oh, all right.
But
Savage came through the portal.
This is done.
Rupture at the ready as well. Oh, doesn't find the vision on Duracho. Forced to use it on Ace now, though. I'll try and kill the tower to stop the rotations, but Kodo's here as well. So another big kill that Talon's going to be able to pick up, really minimizing how much Duracho can get out early on. Shots from Q. Celery just slips out.
It's just the little things that Gamer do so well, though, right? Like the deny to the neutral camp, the rotations at the very last second to make sure that Duracho doesn't die that additional time. They get the deny on the tower. Yeah, they even force a few rotations from Talon, right? I'm sure Savage would have loved to just be sitting back, farming unopposed because he knew that Ace had made that movement up towards the top side. So the fact that they make the movement and it's not even him that gets the kill, it's Mikoto, I'm sure he's going to be a tiny bit salty about that.
It is good to see him being active, though, nonetheless. I mean, Rupture can almost always guarantee a kill, and we're going to see it not even used here for Tofu. Kodo is able to get himself closer towards the vessel. Gladiators are trying to strike back, though. It's Quinn and Celery together. You do have Ace reasonably close by as well. And that double damage rune is going to shred them apart. Now, the shards makes it a little bit awkward, but Savage has already tanked up way too much damage, and Quinn's already looking for the +1 kill. They won't be able to chase down Q. They will get a nice little Courier snipe.
If there is any +1 about it all, he had already bought the Javelin on Savage, so didn't end up losing too much gold from that kill attempt. And again, you know there's no Rolling Thunder if you have to consider. It's again just what Quinn does when he's got these runes protected. It's a hallmark of any sort of Quinn team is that the supports are going to provide the assistance there because they know that the man is capable of providing that impact. But we talk about impact, that diffusal blade only about 400 gold away.
Uh-oh, Ace. Should be able to stop the trample away. Sailor is actually going to drop the tombstone on the higher ground, but it's going to do nothing here. So nice little kill for Talon. Let's see where Makoto wants to go next. He's really been on the mark with his rotations, 3-0 and 2. A much different performance we're seeing out of him. And instantly look in the mid lane. He can combine with jabs. Also a great timing as well out of the power. And he's going to run straight into him. But they want to go for Tofu, which is the easy kill. Blinding Light will only stall this one out. Quinn will try and do whatever he can. Ace is even going to TP in. Rolling Thunder's still on cooldown for 15 seconds. That's a perfect tornado. Makoto's Invoker this game is really on point. Now Quinn's in some danger. They will have the Snowball to be able to stop the Pulverize, but it's a little bit too late though. And now Cellar is going to look to enter with a Flesh Golem. Makoto in some trouble, but the shards will do nothing as Gladiators. A big couple of kills to be able to slow down this momentum that the Invoker's been starting to build.
Yeah, and they could have potentially gone for a bit more of a slow play, right? They had the 10-minute siege creep there. If they just, didn't go overly deep and dive, maybe you can end up taking out another tower and start really invading into the space that Dyrachyo is still going to need to be able to get into this Battle Fury and then the items beyond.
It's having some me time, though. It's a pretty decent position in regards to the net worth, and... See, I wonder what the build is going to be from Savage. I mean, he's got this Mjolnir queued up, of course, with the procs, able to go through the evasion. Wonder what else you're looking to consider. I know you brought up the Scepter. When does he want to go Shard as well? If there's going to be any, transition away from the, the classic BKB and all some of the other items.
I think so. Nah, Bloodseeker is very much linear with the way that you need to play it these days. There's a reason it's only been picked once so far this tournament. It's just a tiny bit slow. And this is what I was talking about as well, right? Jabs has just the 1 point in the Bristleback passive. So again, he's going for this higher damage potential, but I'm a little worried because we saw how quickly he melted there underneath the tower. It's not like they're lacking in damage on Gaming Gladiators, especially with the start that Quinn's had.
But he's also not incredibly fat, and this stack is really going to help out from Jabs. Got a hard camp, got an ancient. I think they're both triple. And we can really see the Bristol back, though, once you get this Scepter Bloodstone. It's going to be a big thing if he can get it before the break, though, on Dire.
That's always the big thing. And you can see there's nowhere close to a break being purchased up on Gaming Gladiator's side. Putting a Blade Mail first on Ace, I would assume probably the Heart before that. But, I could consider him just going straight into the Aghanim Scepter on Ace as well. But, yeah, for PA, it's going to be quite some time until she considers going for that Aghanim Shard for herself.
Very impressive performance out of Quinn so far to start this game. 2-1 and 3, top net worth. And look to try and smoke off the back of the very early Diffusal Corrosion. And, of course, Tofu can always amplify him with the Chakra. So let's see how Talon are going to be able to respond to this. Both sides' scans are off the mark.
Identical times, though, so both ones clearly know that something is up. Ollie right now alongside Q, just acting as that little bit of a distraction. Probably don't want to be giving up both of them, right? We know the level of impact that this Ice Blast is going to be able to provide. But they are lacking a little bit of that lockdown if Makoto isn't around. So he's just hanging around in this mid lane, wants to get into that Midas so that he doesn't fall too far behind Quinn.
They want out.
Yeah, they want out completely. Feels like Quinn's going to get a lot more of his net worth off of kills, right? Obviously, taking neutral creeps is a lot faster ever since they gave mana to basically every single neutral creep with this Diffusal Blade. But look at this. The support's just taking away a little bit of the Dyrachyo farm as well.
Who is still going uncontested, man. And his net worth is now just taking over the position of Makoto. We have not seen them hunt him down so far. I mean, Savage has also been fine. 3-1 and 2. He's got his farming Celerin in the Maelstrom. But Celery's got a great read on this, that they're hunting Dyrachyo. He's going to maybe act as a smoke block, or if they jump him next to the T2 tower, could keep him alive long enough for some extra reinforcements.
They somehow don't see each other until the very last second, and, well, there we go. They're eventually going to end up backing off. Is Makoto going to be okay? Yeah, he ends up TPing away up on that high ground. The courier ended up giving himself away a little bit. Not the worst. It's not like Gloves of Haste really would have changed all that much for the start. And he's already got that Midas starting to get queued up as well. Even picking up the Wisdom Rune for himself.
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
Very similar to game 1 though, right? Where it was a pretty action-packed like first 10 minutes and then the game starts to slow down. So do you feel like there is a side that is enjoying the status quo more than the other currently?
I'd say both, honestly. Like, a lot of the plays that have been happening from Gaming Gladiators have been this trio of Pango, Coddle, and the Undying, just because they've got the farm that they really need. Again, supports don't need that much. You've got the Urn available on the Coddle. Quinn, we've mentioned time and time again about how much farm he was able to get early on into the piece, who is going for a satanic.
Oh, wow.
And it's really just all about making space for the PA, enough said, but also the other break potential coming through from Ace.
Why is he going satanic versus AA? I'm very intrigued. Sure, the spell is quite nice, but this is a very interesting choice from Quinn. We'll see how it's going to work out.
Maybe just thinking that he's not the one that's going to be the main target for the AA Ice Blast. So
Ace charges actually through Talon. They got the vision. No, dude, again, back-to-back times that they've tried to bring down Ace bottom lane. This time they wanted to set up with Makoto, but yeah, he gets out.
Just those little decisions like going the Fated Brooch, right? Obviously with a Primal, the Trample gives you a lot of value, but even just there, we saw Windlace, Phase Boots, Fated Brooch. It's enough to be able to get him away. The fact that it was nighttime as well, right? The movement speed buff that you get.
Is under attack.
We'll have, of course, the Scepter completed for Jabs, and Ag Shard is already queued up next here for the Bristleback.
Probably that's the time that Talon really want to be making something happen, right? Level 12, Aghanim Shard on the Bristle. Vanguard should be enough to be able to provide a little bit of safety. Of course, you've got the Tusk for that extra layer of protection as well. They'll scout out the fact that Q has just freshly picked up a Blink Dagger too, so that might impact the way that people are positioning on lanes. They know that they've got a lot of burst potential with this Spirit Vessel of Ice Blast available.
It's a nice go from Dai. They secured the power rune for Quinn. The Arcane once again potentially baiting Ace. 2k health they have to go through, but Talon, they're making their own play, sweeping through mid, potentially looking to try and connect with their strongest hero at the moment with the Bristleback.
Didn't seem like they saw. Well, now they'll definitely see things now. Ice Vortex being put up onto the high ground. They had Undying's Courier up there, so instantly sees the fact that you've got an AA hanging around, and the only reason an AA is going that far forward is if they're looking to set up some sort of smoke, but Duracho, once again, just dodges them out barely.
Dude, I was really seeing the praises early game of Makoto, who's still 3-1-3. Like, KDA-wise, is looking incredible, but after that one death, his net worth has completely fallen off a cliff, and this is going to be an issue as the game goes on. You compare him to Quinn, the net worth disparison, it's really racking up, and this is the fine line, right? With this Spirit Vessel kind of cost works on how much you farm compared to going for pickoffs across the map. But at the moment, maybe he needs to consider a little bit more farming with just at least to get that Midas.
Yeah, and it's not even like it was completely on Duracho as well for that that counter out, right? The combination of wards, the combination of Celery's calls with where exactly they're looking to move. It just feels like Gaming Gladiators have way too good awareness for the movement from Talon, and they recognize the fact that you were just talking about, right? If Makoto's not getting kills, he's not going to scale at the same level as a lot of our cores. It's why I was really putting a lot of emphasis onto 23 Savage and the way that he's going to be able to play this game.
Yeah, really good read. That is T1 Tower's not being defended, instant scan and ping from Duracho, but Talon, they've had enough, dude. This kind of cat and mouse, you're missing every smoke and move they've made. They want to try and at least force Gladiators to take a fight by the pit and die. They're not gonna take that at all. They're fine with giving this up. They've got the lineup to continue to be able to stall. You'll get the tier 1 mid. You've got Duracho freely farming with Battle Fury, so looks like they're more than okay with giving the Aegis over to Talon.
Not even wanting to get the deny off onto the mid tier 1. Obviously just popped the Ghost Walk, so doesn't want to waste that, but maybe just waiting to see if there is any hero that ends up showing themselves. Would love a quick peel onto Celery.
It might not be quick though.
For the boys.
Gladiators are nearby. Lucky Shot's gonna make it a little bit more messy. It looks like with Jabs coming through along with the Ice Blast, without a doubt they'll get the kill. There might be a Tombstone as well if they want to go for it. Instead, there is a tier 1 mid they can consider.
Yeah, I don't think they want to fight as far away from that Tombstone as possible. They know that they've got Tofu as well as Quinn there as backup.
Top lane? Okay. Savage. Oh, right. Random Rupture, why not? No farm for you for, what is it, 10 seconds? Such an annoying Rupture. What is that?
I mean, this is much more of the style from Talon that I was really wanting to see, though, right? They are playing on the Gaming Gladiators side of the map. They've hit their timings, they've got the ages. Now you've got to make sure something happens before you reach these next big items that Gaming Gladiators are going for. I mean, Ace has basically got his Aghanim Scepter now, so he can make plays. You've almost got a BKB on Phantom Assassin. She can make plays into a lot of this. So what are you going to be able to make happen? I'm not sure if I necessarily agree with the Mjolnir at this point on Savage. I think you just got to be making the most of your own inbuilt attack speed buffs coming through. And then just look to try and get into that early Aghanim Shard so that you can actually look to stand in man fight.
With this dire Observer Ward. Far out.
So much.
Yeah.
Is under attack.
See the Midas how slow it is. We've had average 1640 so far. Very delayed here from Makoto. We are about to get to that 20 minutes, and very shortly after we've got the Wisdom Runes as well. Gladiators, they're already ready to try and pick up this Tormentor, so see the importance of the potential shard, whoever it's going to be, whether it's Tofu.
They would love grab ally.
Celery?
Celery doesn't die.
He will. Surely, come on. Ollie, you as good as Fly being able to predict?
My bingo has Tormentor kill.
Well, one of them's trying to predict. That Sunstrike. I mean, it wasn't that close to be honest, but it was a cool read.
Close-ish.
I think. Where did he Ice Blast?
Don't know, I didn't see.
Did you see that clip? No? It was pretty cool where Fly predicted the Tormentor was getting taken and Ice Blast and got a kill on a support and the Wraith King's reincarnation. I was impressed. It's alright though, never mind. Okay. Top lane, Savage. Has to pop the BKB. It's going to be long enough duration to TP out. Yes, it will. That is your 9-second duration though.
Mjolnir completed as well. So he's got, again, more of a farming accelerant. This is it though, right? I really want to see Talon make something out of this first Aegis. You cannot wait for too long. You know, you've got the BKB now on the PA. You've got the level 15, so that extra cast range that you're going to be able to find the back lines and stay way far back. Let the Pango and the Primal Beast be the ones that start off a lot of these fights for you. Even just the Aghanim Shard coming through from Quinn, right? It's going to allow him to just be able to position himself to not worry about the Rupture quite as much, right? We mentioned before that it's an amazing Bloodseeker game for what the Rupture can do to all three of their cores, but if you can minimize that as much as possible through, you know, the roll-up, through the Satanic, being able to heal up a lot of that damage that's being done, and take away, more importantly, the attention from Duraccio, the core that you're really worried about, that's the big factor.
Finally, dude.
The grab ally.
When was the last time we had a kill? Far out. Makoto going to be rewarded off the back of his move. The help of the Ice Blast.
Needed.
That is a much needed kill. It's been a very slow game like we saw last time around this time. So Aegis for another 50 seconds. Seems like they're kind of happy with at least all the farm they've been able to get. I guess we go back to the question I asked last game. Like, Talon late game compared to Gladiators, is there a side you're more comfortable with going to the later stages?
It really depends on what the itemization is going to be, right? If we eventually start to see a bunch of Lincolns getting picked up, then I'm really feeling not too great about Talon's chances, because that's going to nullify the effectiveness of this Rupture. Even if Savage gets into that level 25 talent, right, to get an additional charge, it's just not going to be enough. And we know they've got the burst potential. I mean, you're playing with a PA, for God's sake.
Far out. PA top net worth as well. That has gone uncontested for quite some time. Deso almost completed after the BKB. Talon are going to look to smoke to try and connect into Duraccio. Does kind of reveal himself in the lane.
Got boys behind him, though. They know the Aegis is about to expire. They know that if they ever were going to make a play during it, this is the time. But once again, Talon, first Aegis, pretty ineffective. Granted, they still have a few of their own items to be able to pick up, so maybe they're just putting a lot of faith into their own scaling potential.
What do we feel like is kind of going wrong with Talon with all of their attempts not working? Is it just the props really need to be given to die with their read of the map and whenever Talon's moving? Or is it like, you know, maybe the ward placements from Talon, not as much emphasis on shoving out side lanes? Like, what do we feel like it is?
How can you do it as a Tuscan and AA? That's the thing. Even the Invoker, right? This isn't an Exort Invoker where you can, you know, use the Forged Spirits consistently just to be those ones shoving out the lane. He's trying to do it whenever possible. 4 points Quas, 4 points Exort, so he's going to have 2 Forged Spirits, but it just feels like Gaming Gladiators have the superior draft for that exact purpose that you're talking about. Would love to see someone pick up this Lotus pool. That would be a full greater Lotus.
just watching 24 minutes in. 5 heroes just huddling together now. We have a Midas on Q. Like, are we really in this position again where we have a position 4 going on Midas? Apparently this is the status of this game.
I mean, I'm not the biggest fan of that, to be honest. I was really hoping for him to get into an Aghanim Scepter just because you've got the Bloodseeker combination, right? You've got the ability to isolate. You've got something else to be able to set up for things like the Ice Blast to completely isolate someone away. And
no,
Jabs
man.
is solo.
They don't want to take the bait. Maybe they think there's more. They'll drop the ward. There's a sentry in range. Jab should know.
Sees it.
It's activates the BKB, tries the turn, but once AC is going to be in with the break, might be a little bit easier about killing the Bristleback. They're hesitant though. Gaming don't want to commit heavily, and now with the reactions out of talent for the grab ally, will keep him alive momentarily, but it's not going to matter. Stunned as he re-enters the living. He won't be there for too long. They want to go back in though. Savage is committed with the BKB. He's in a lot of trouble as Quinn's going to be able to target him down for the moment. Has more than enough walls to be able to bounce back off. The Rupture's proving to be annoying, but it will not matter in the end. As now Q can still jump over the top. Jabs is starting to stack up this damage. His Bristleback has gone uncontested. And where is Dyrachyo? Just not involved throughout that team fight. Was having a bit of a battle over on the left side. I think he killed Oli, but maybe with him there we see a different fight. But in the end, Talon, they're able to come out on top.
Yeah, Makoto providing a lot of that control, preventing the PA from having too big of an impact. Still ended up doing the most damage on the Gaming Gladiators side, but that's the power that you're really looking to see from Jabs, and they put so much priority onto taking out that Primal Beast. They still don't have the break, so you don't have this answer to the Bristleback just yet. He's put a second point into the Bristleback. I'm keen to see if he puts any further into it or if he's just going to prioritize the stats from here on forward.
First side.
Just like that, Makoto's recovered his net worth.
Middle tower is under attack.
Yeah, that he has. Hurricane Pike now completed for Makoto. Importantly, levels as well is looking good. Level 15, mid lane. I didn't be able to get him.
He doesn't have any charges at the moment on the vessel, so doesn't have that easy way to be able to combo together with a cold snap, but they're going to need it, right? Like, you popped both BKBs pretty early on Talon there, and I was a little worried for their long-term potential in that fight, but really just going to show that if you don't have an answer to the Bristleback, well, that doesn't really matter.
I want to go back to something the panel mentioned previously in that last game where they highlighted the Midases were a little bit of an awkward timing where they weren't able to play with kind of the strength of the Nagas early, like 3 items. I do wonder, like, if you win these fights, we're not going to feel it as much, but there is some big timings out of, 23 Savage early on, the Bristleback really importantly this hero. So if you can win the next fight and continue to stall, then sure, we're going to say this Midas is great. He's going to get sceptered at a pretty early timing. But if Gladiators win this fight, then get Roche, the map will be difficult to play with. They kill Jabs to start.
Yeah, and they've got the break now on the PA as well. She's got basically all the items she could possibly need, even going into that nullifier next.
Can't lose that ward.
That Ghost Scepter's not a fact.
They're going to jump Q straight onto Tofu. They should be able to blow up the Keep of the Light, but once again, Sally will keep him alive. They found Makoto. Now that's a big target to take out of the equation, but Savage is going to look to enter as well. Dyrachyo! These crits are raining down, and now Quinn hot in pursuit, but who does he want to jump though? The zombies giving them the information. Talon done a pretty good job to retreat, but the BKBs, they're not available if a further fight does break out as Quinn would jump over the top of the shards, but they would just sacrifice the life of Q, and there we go. A fight will go the way of Gaming Gladiators, and eventually they're going to be rewarded with Roshan as well, and this map will now start to shrink as a result.
That's all right. He's got the Midas. He'll be fine. Recovery Midas for the Tusk coming through. But yeah, just like you said, it really does show that if you just lose one fight, if you don't use the net worth that you've built up for that level of effect,
are they coming?
Yeah, look at how much damage. I don't know if you could look to fight this. I mean, an instant Sunstrike maybe when Makoto comes up to see if it actually is the case. No Ice Blast and complete vision as well. Ace is acting as that frontline bodyguard.
Ice Blast is coming through now. It's going to clip on 2. You've got the Aegis, but instantly taken care of. And now they won't get much value out of the break as well. It's going to be on cooldown for a little bit of time. What's the call on Talon? Makota's going to be back in. Duracho jumps to the left side with the BKB on cooldown. Can he activate the cheese? Gets it off for the last second, but he's still going to be bursted. Full to 0. And Jabs is left standing in the middle of it all as well with the Scepter. This Bristleback is ripping Ace apart. They got to get out. Gladiators, you need to cut your losses. But Cube jumps over to the top of the high ground. That's a perfect shard placement. There is no retreat from Dire. Tofu will be cut down as well as Talon. The numbers disadvantage. It did not matter. What a fight by the pit.
That's crazy. I thought they had no chance, no BKBs, 3v5 sort of situation, but the breaks just weren't there. They were able to land the perfect Ice Blast at the perfect time. Luckily for Gaming Gladiators, they were still able to secure the Aegis and the Roche kill. Could have gone even worse for them. And we talk about those timings. I mean, Bristleback's about to get even stronger. Level 20 starting to build up a few more of those quill sprays, and it was all about that Sunstrike just providing them that level of information that they needed. Value of the Tormentors as well, right? Gets the stun off onto the Undying, means that he might get the Flesh Golem off, but wasn't able to get the grab ally there, both for the Tombstone just in general, but also that saving potential.
And wow. So many little things inside that team fight. Could have gone either way. But overall, Talon now 4,000 net worth lead. We see the power of what this lineup can truly dish out if they have this opportunity to spellcast and freely right-click.
Yeah, and Jabs prior to that fight actually had picked up the Greater Healing Lotus as well, so he had that 900 heal coming in clutch, and then was still able to swap in a Vitality booster that he had backpacked at the time. So that ended up making sure he was able to survive through the initial burst, and then, yeah, just turns it around completely.
This goddamn AA shard. What a buff to the hero.
Yeah.
Like, just slowly over time. Vortex, get rid of that shard. You have an innate now where you're able to push out some of the waves and give this man a stun. That has always been, one of his biggest critiques, where team fighting stuns, you don't have that. You're also, kind of immobile and slow. That's still the case, but we are going to continue to see what this Ice Blast can do. And that was a big reason in that last fight, the stun onto 3.
That was the reason. Undying being taken out of that fight. Honestly, I think it's very different if you're just able to lay down a Tombstone, if you're able to wait out a few seconds of that Ice Blast debuff.
Now you got some big talent. Savage, level 20, has that Rupture cast range, importantly. There was another 20 I just saw as well. Bristle got his, PA got his.
And a Nullifier, so they realize how much of a threat Ollie is giving them this game. You might have a Ghost Scepter, which he picked up pretty damn early on, but he is going to be the absolute priority target for them. I'm really wanting to see, when are these Lincolns going to start to come out here from Tal? They don't have the greatest ways to be able to break it from range.
This has been really the first time this series, though, where Talon have been able to get a little bit more of a foothold in this game.
And honestly, this is 23 Savage has got the Ags, and now he's got the Ag Shard as well. So this is the first fight that I'm really feeling like Savage has the potential to take it over completely. It's been all Jabs up until this point, but now that you've got 2 legitimate ones, that's scary. Now there's a DD bottom as well. That might be the thing that turns the tide. 6k advantage at the moment for Talon, but I mean, a PA with a DD just completely changes the rulebook.
Without a doubt. Let's see what the call is going to be for them. Do you want to continue maybe looking to try and deal with some of your waves at the moment? Because Gladiators, they are not leaving each other's side. I mean, same with Talon as well. It's the status of this game, how even it is. One fight still, Gladiators could even this one out. And of course, the stakes as well on the line, a potential upper bracket berth here for Gaming Gladiators.
I wonder why you even go here for Talon, because I feel like they still need a little bit of armor, right? Like the Pango, the PA, they're hitting for big, and it doesn't seem like they want to go towards an AC. I really wouldn't hate a Shiva's Guard just to provide a little bit of that slow, more importantly, the healing reduction. Because when you consider what you're going up against, right? PA with a Phantom Strike, you've got the Satanic on the Pango, you've got the Undying heal, you've got the Coddle heal. It's a lot that you're going to be able to minimize.
Can they look at Jabs if he goes for this right creep? Camp.
Well, they've got the vision for it. Oh, is he going to go for it, though?
He may get blown up with this DD. Jab's going to run straight to them. And with the ward, they know that no one else is behind him. This is going to be a huge kill. Break is out, and his health pool just evaporates. That's a gem as well. Double gem now for Gladiators. All right, straight Rolling Thunder.
Yeah. Still pretty long cooldown on it. max level, but another 60 seconds until it's up. But Primal Beast, of course, one of the big benefits of the hero, by the way, reached level 20 now, so even more damage coming through from the trample. Pulverize already back up, and yeah, like you mentioned, that double damage effective, both the kill as well as that tower taking potential. This time, they'll remember to glyph for the tier 2 towers, so this push won't immediately result, and they're moving up onto the high ground. Looks like Talon will be able to take a little bit of control themselves too.
I know it is getting very scary with the potential of what this Phantom Assassin is going to be able to do inside the fights. That is your one thing. I mean, Talon, do they have at the moment the heroes or even the built-in items to be able to deal with it? Maybe Scepter could be frustrated and kick him out. Actually, yeah, who does Q actually even, like, what's the play with the Scepter?
Whoever gets ruptured.
Okay, that's pretty easy, all right?
And, again, it's going to get to that point. And, again, it's going to be even more effective if they aren't going to go for these Lotuses or these Lincolns, right? Where level 25 on Savage is going to result in even more carnage. It's still a fantastic Rupture game. All 3 cores, even the Coddle, to be honest, are vulnerable if they get caught out of place.
He's got the 8th
Might
one.
even be looking to prioritize him being the one to pick up this 35-minute Wisdom Rune as well.
Let's see who's going to be able to get that one. Do have a bit of lull inside our second game here. GG should be able to get their own Tormentor, who's without the shard currently. Ace Tofu.
Looks like it is Savage that's going to be yoinking it up. As soon as they see the Thirst movement speed start to come in, they're like, okay, they're doing Tormentor.
Instantly smoke as a result of that. Sunstrike, a little bit off the mark. This is a scary position to fight if they continue to angle to the right side, though. A choke point area should very much favor Gladiators to be able to get the backline and also play with that Tombstone.
They know they're about to go for a smoke. They just grouped up under a Watcher that they had under their control. So right now, Jabs just wants to shove out the wave, force someone to have to deal with this first. Tornado off the mark.
Oh, Makoto being on the front's worrying.
If they can retreat, this would be huge.
Rupture's out as
well. Get a
well.
good Rupture off.
He's going to have to protect himself with the Arcanum shot. He's fallen pretty low, but meanwhile, Darachi wants to jump in the middle. Ace is going to follow and pursue as well. They're holding down Makoto momentarily. Darachi with the burst damage. They'll deal with the Invoker. What's the call out from Gladiators? Can you look for more kills? As Q, he is isolated in no man's land as Talon can't enter Dai's side of the map, and another fight will go the way of Gladiators, and now they can look to get some more objectives.
Good God, that was good. Just wait out the Rupture. Make sure that you, with your Satanic, is able to provide the safety. And like you said, they isolated Q. Q did the right thing. He wanted to get that Walrus kick off, make sure that he was able to burn out the rest of the Pangolier's HP pool. But instead, Celery drops the Tombstone onto Quinn, gets him inside the grab ally, means that, like you said, Tusk completely away from the rest of the boys and ends up dying as a result. It's really, really well done by Gaming Gladiators. Full team fight coming through there. That was not any sort of individual play, that was a team understanding.
Top tower is under attack.
Well, this top is getting shoved in, so there will be a response eventually out of Dai to be able to go back for that. There's no way they run into Savage, right?
Surely not.
Close. Wait, hang on, are they thinking about fighting Q? Tofu's not with the boys at the moment. Darachi no BKB as well. Ice Blast will clip on the right side. It separates the Phantom Assassin, and there is that combo. Rupture kick. Health pool gets blown up. Gladiators will be able to retreat, so they only lose one. But of course, that is a big kill on Darachi, and Roche is up in 20 seconds. We'll see if Talon's able to scout it out straight away.
High risk, high reward. That's the Talon way. We saw that with the previous Roshan attempt, and they weren't able to secure the Roche, but they still got the successful team fight off the back of it once again. Who would imagine a team would be protecting a tier 1 tower at this point of the game? But I suppose it's really valuable, like you mentioned, with Roshan coming up in 3, 2, 1. It means that they're going to have, if buybacks are required, that additional tower to be able to TP too.
Second Roche of the game.
Oh, no. Yep, they're all coming.
Do you give Aegis to Makoto? I'm very worried about how still vulnerable he is inside the fights, but I feel like there's a lot of other people as well can be blown up.
I'd give it to Bloodseeker personally. Okay. Like, he's almost at his level 25. Like, you can legitimately do like 40,000 damage in one team fight as this Bloodseeker. Probably more so when you're going up against like the really beefy heroes like 3 builders.
Oh, it's third Roche, my bad. Okay.
So end up giving it to Makoto. Maybe just feeling like he's dying a bit too easily. But I'm still waiting for this level 25 on Bloodseeker. He's almost got the refresher orb completed as well. So you will have 4 ruptures coming out. And I'm just doing a quick Lincoln's check. Tofu's nearly finished one up. He's about 50 gold away. But beyond that, I see nothing. 1 Lotus orb. And Quinn just starting to work towards a Lincoln's of his own. So it really just is going to be that sort of, how are you best going to use this time? If I'm 23 Savage, I'm saying give me the farm. Stop taking my farm. Let me get to level 25. Stay close by, but not close enough that you're going to be leeching my XP.
Who would you prefer to have this refresher shot on? Because Jabs currently has it in the backpack.
Feels fine enough to me. I mean, just to be able to get off 2 Bristleback actives is so enormous, right? It means that whoever gets caught out is dying, unless, I mean, Celery's been pretty good with his positioning so far, but it just puts so much more emphasis onto him to be able to be in that right place at the right time. And lucky for him, he's got the ninja gear to be able to play around with. So he's got his own personal smoke. I'm sure he would love to get into something like a Blink Dagger as well on the Undying, just so that you can always be there with the save.
What's a gem count as well? I know Dyer had 2 before. Looks like Coddle's still got 1. The other one's in the fountain as well. So probably going to have to see Talon soon look to consider that. I mean, you really need these items though. I mean, Ollie has had this Hexecutor for quite some time. Q would love the 8th lens to be able to enable that combo we saw prior to deal with Durachio.
Savage is like, stop leeching my XP. I'm so close. Multiple times now that you've had 1 or 2 teammates relatively close by to him. He's isolated now, so he should get the level 25 off the back of this. But just imagine if Gaming Gladiators were going for some sort of kill attempt right now onto that sort of area.
It's got the rupture charges though finally, so let's see what the call is going to be. So I have plenty of time to work with the Ages. They do not have any deep vision to potentially look to smoke to. The ward's in fact still getting held.
And I wouldn't even hate the refresher being given over to Q, to be honest, right? Like double Walrus kick with whoever gets ruptured, that's pretty deadly.
Even just double punch, 3-second BKB pissing control, and someone like Durachio inside the middle of the fight, and if Savage is able to right click him, that could just be enough. We are going to see them smoke.
Radiant are scanning.
They are...
And is that connecting or not? It's like pinging every now and then, but
I think it did to start.
Yeah.
They're very split. They are very split. No way he shows.
Pick onto, surely.
They're going to see the dagger. But they have no vision on the backline though. They don't know that anyone else is not behind Durachio, so it is still scary nonetheless.
Literally like inches between being able to catch him out there. The blur nerf, not enough to be able to lead to Durachio's death there. Doing their best to be able to try and shove out a lot of these lanes, but I feel like Gaming Gladiators realize the strength of the potential high ground fight. We talk about level 25s, where you've also got it on Durachio as well. So many more ways to be able to proc that coup de grace.
They didn't play for the Wisdom Room.
Tower is under attack.
I don't know how I was able to get that. They might lose their other as well. I mean, it's also a really big pre-wave.
Does anyone else make that play other than Durachio? I don't know if they do.
Are they going to lose the other 2? No way.
That's just here. Well, yoink.
Oh, it's so much experience. All right.
They'll be kicking themselves a little bit. Yeah, instant ping out coming through. Another tormentor for themselves. Anyone lacking a shard right now? Looks like just Invoker. Not too bad, honestly. Just keeping people relatively close by to the Bristleback.
Yeah, it's not a bad shot at all. Let's see, they're doing a very good job though. I mean, Talon aren't really forcing the issue though on getting a fight.
They've only got 45 seconds on the Aegis. It's again one of these cases where it feels like Talon fights better from behind. You know, they want to be in this sort of disadvantageous position, as looks like Tofu's even going to be able to get away from a Makoto gank attempt.
I still am just so worried. I do not care that this PA was nerfed slightly. Like, this here late game, it is a different beast. I don't even care about his KDA as long as he's got the gold. He's got Satanic about to be complete. In fact, I think he just went... Yeah, he's bored out. Blessing for the Scepter, and Satanic getting delivered as well. So Duracho is ready to go.
He's so huge, man. And the thing is as well, you're going to have that slightly less duration on whatever lockdown that they've got. He's been very clever about this. The Ascetics cap, he knows that he just needs to be able to withstand during the Rupture, right? It's still fantastic Rupture game. I've said it about 50 times right now, but as long as you've got the Satanic to be able to heal up any of that damage dealt, you're not only ensuring your own survivability, you're nerfing a little bit of what the Bloodseeker is able to do, both in terms of movement speed and right clicks. It just feels like a really solid itemization coming out from Gaimin. And the thing that I'm worried about for Talon is that you've waited long enough that now you do have multiple Linked Spheres up.
I'm going to try and force the issue. That is, look to smoke. They don't have the greatest power room to play with, but at least potentially help them try and deal with some of their lane issues. You're going to take a fight around a high ground, though. You'll need to drop a ward. Celery could even use the Tombstone for vision as well.
Jab's not quite with the boys. He's going for his own break. A bristleback going break up against a PA.
I see the Watcher getting taken. No pings, though. Makoto almost running straight into them. It's a jump. Tofu will start. They've got the vision advantage. Instant rolling thunder. It's Quinn's going to try and hunt the back lane. Second use of the Rupture. Quinn's going to have to stand in the middle. Where's Q to be able to get the kick away? Now Quinn, he's isolated from the team. It's all up to Duracho now, but the Rupture's used. He should be free inside to fight. He's going to try and chase down Makoto to the south. A quick disengage gets him out of danger. They're not done just yet, though. Ace hunting for more, but Talon retreated to the safety of their high ground. Do they want to go in, though?
It's just such good team play coming out from Gaming Gladiators, man, right? Like, you're going in, you're popping the Satanic, you're getting down to about 30%. Quinn able to heal up to a very, very healthy portion. And then the perfect timing from the grab ally. Not too early, not too late, making sure that if you were wanting to commit up onto that high ground, you're competing into zero vision, into a Tombstone layer down at you. And by the time he pops out, you're playing alongside of a Keeper of the Light, right? So he's going to have another set of spells to be able to play around with too, with no Ruptures left.
Duracho's just ready for someone to step a little bit too far forward to blow him up. No one will give him that opportunity, though, so they'll go back to the T2 tower.
It's a juicy one. Of course, this is the area that you always need to be a little bit concerned about going up against an Aghanim Scepter Tusk, going into high ground, and feels like that might be what Gaming Gladiators are looking to play for next. Find another one of these pickoffs onto Q so that you're not going to have that risk of getting kicked back with a Rupture underneath Tier 4 towers.
Uh-oh. That is a scary rune. Scary, scary rune, and they're going to be able to find it as well. So Duracho's bottom, so Quinn's probably going to take it. Roche potentially up in 15 seconds. They've got full control of this left outpost area. Did they lose the gem as well in that fight? No. Okay, Ollie's still holding him. Still a pipe dream of this Hex.
He's getting close. Yep. Billy coming in value. Even just his own level 18 would be pretty nice. Extra second on the Frostbitten. Extra little bit of damage.
Dude, probability is 50-50, dead even.
Yep. Feels that way. It honestly feels like Gaimin need to mess up once. Kind of like what we saw last time around, right? Like, these team fights haven't gone swimmingly for Talon. Like, it's just been really good play by Quinn and Celery in particular. They're just understanding of where exactly each other want to move, where each other needs to be, has been just on point.
Wait, this is a scary bridge to cross. Harley will lead the charge, wants to drop his own ward, which completely scouts Talon out. And Duracho's going to be able to jump as well, but the break's there. Jabs is in a lot of danger. Refreshes his health ball thanks to the cheese. Now Duracho down low, they blow him up. No Duracho for the team fight. Talon, you've got to get more. This is your one opportunity. They'll try and cross the bridge back to their side of the map. Ace wants to try and disrupt them, but the tornado clips on 4. Duracho will bite back, but he's way too far away from the team. Ace is going to hold down Savage on the right side. Ace just solo killed the Bloodseeker. Now there's a big opportunity. Gladiators, they'll need to get more out of this. The investment out of the buybacks is costly, as Quinn should stop Makoto on the retreat. If they got detection, it looks like they do. We'll try and TP out, but the rock throw will stop him short as Gladiators somehow come out on top.
How did he do that much damage? I suppose maybe he had the Blood Mist running at the exact same time as the Blade Mail was being popped there by Ace, but literally 100 to 0 on that Bloodseeker. Crazy amount of damage done by him, and now he's level 25 as well, so got even longer duration there on the Pulverize. You're just going to be able to completely lock people out of the fight. They're going to go for a cheeky play once again, but GG, they're not phased. They're just going to finish this Roshan and get a Refresher Shard of their own.
So I guess the big thing is the fact that multiple really important buybacks were used. Of course, we're looking at the Dyrachyo buyback. I mean, Celeris is nice, but there is a win condition now. If you killed Dyrachyo twice, this game looks very different.
Just kill him twice. It's easy.
Easy. I killed him once that time.
Once. That's the difference maker. And again, it's the scary prospect of going up onto the high ground. I want to see how much pressure they put up onto this high ground when they don't have the Bloodseeker, when they don't have the Invoker. And if Talon have the cojones to use this buyback, if Q is able to get into a good position for a kickback, they might be able to do it.
Oh, they're looking for it. Maybe being able to blow him up. 4-0. Celery again. This tombstone save. And now you've just sacrificed Q's life. And Bristle's in a little bit of trouble as well with the breakout. Ace sees an opportunity to be able to charge in the middle. Savage tries to do what he can, but it's not going to matter. Now Dyrachyo senses an opportunity. Makoto with the tornado will disrupt. The combo's going to get laid down. Kick further inside the base. Gaming Gladiators. What can you do on the respawn? To just even sacrifice his life? Quinn will try and give an opportunity for the Phantom Strike, but the instant Hex is finally there. And now they're looking for more as well. Ace, kick back. This is the opportunity Talon have been waiting for. Ace will go down without a doubt. It's just a question of can they get more kills. As Savage will not be able to cancel Quinn's TP, but that is the dieback on Dyrachyo. 100 seconds for Talon now.
Yeah, for sure. And, you know, you had to use a couple of buybacks onto Jabs and Q. Well worth it. They were just wanting to wait things out, get that Satanic. Perfect use of the stun combination to make sure that you really didn't get too much value out of the PA. And you see the lines being drawn out by Savage. He is like, we are ending this game right now. We're not going to get a better opportunity. 50-minute creep wave, double siege creeps, and plenty of units to be able to soak up all of this multi-shots if Talon if Gaming Gladiators choose to commit that Glyph of Protection. Obviously not wanting to do it for a tier 2, wouldn't be refreshed, but now's the time. Can they do it?
If anyone shows, they might just jump again. You know there's no buyback from the Pengo. Quinn in the middle. Hang on, Bloodseeker? What is the damage on Savage? It's got to be really cautious, but we're going to just try and waste as much time. But again, if anyone's nearby, Q may look for the opening with the kick. He's starting to run up.
Jabs is just softening up a little bit.
Wait, Jabs?
Why not?
Dude! Quinn's in trouble now as well.
Sorry again. Remember?
Oh my lord, these tombstones, but it is just space. One building down. What's the call from Talon?
Dire's middle barracks are under attack.
Call is to keep on going. They want to have this map advantage. They want to keep Gaming Gladiators fighting on their side of the map. They don't want that instant pick off into a dieback, into the inability to be able to fight, and they know it's 20 seconds until the PA is a concern.
Jabs doesn't have the greatest mana pool for this fight.
I don't think they want to take a fight at all. Yeah, they're going to clean up what is possible, and then they're going to get the hell out of there.
Look at the respect, man. Far out. Not give a opportunity. This is still just under 4 minutes where there is not a buyback for Dyrachyo, and they have showcased they have the capability to be able to kill him inside these fights, and if you can somehow kite the Primal, there does seem to be a potential damage issue.
All right, at least this time Makoto was there on the bottom side of the river because there was another freaking double damage, but Invoker ends up picking it up this time.
But Daedalus, dude. All right, let's see what Makoto can do.
Oh, jeez.
He
still wants to keep alacriting himself. No vessel charges is a bit of a concern.
Buyback status as a whole this game. Savage and Makoto, the only ones on Talon. Gaming Gladiators. Quinn's going to have enough gold in 80. And of course the Dynamo AC's got enough as well.
Going for another move. And they find the pick off even. Wonder, Q's got a Octarine queued up. I understand it. Just wanting to get more Walrus kicks. I wouldn't hate seeing him go a Silver Edge as well.
It's a good ward.
Another way.
It's a really good ward. Smoke's gonna pop. Oh, good reaction.
So quick. And Celery, I think, has been the MVP.
Hang on, they're coming.
GG so far.
Smoke's gonna pop. Ollie's in a really peculiar position where they can just blow up the support. A quick guaranteed kill onto an easy opportunity. Gives them a 4v5 and potentially more as well as Q's gonna go down. These are the heroes without buyback.
Oh
Savage.
no, Savage, he trapped himself.
He can BKB and TP, but you got to make a call pretty shortly. He's going to TP now. His ace disrupted the charge. Won't stop him, but dude, now no one's there.
Get the guy that dieback.
No one is with jabs. It's just Makoto as well. But the Invoker, he also needs to get out of danger. That is a disastrous team fight. The worst thing that could possibly happen. Is Savage is going to try and do whatever he can, but one crit, jump over the top. Duracho will not let Savage get back to the base. And now they sense blood in the water. Makoto as well. You could not have had anything worse happen for Talon. And now as a result, Makoto, they'll catch up to him as well. Buybacks are used instantly. I guess at least the lanes are in an okay position, but my oh my.
You see exactly where they're going, right? Makoto goes bottom, Savage goes top. Try and shove out these lanes as quickly as you can. I'd love to be able to just drop that Mjolnir buff onto somebody that you can't show yourself. This is ballsy, Savage. You got to get the hell out of there. But they might not even care. They've got the creeps. 3 is enough. They're just going to go up onto that high ground. Buyback's coming up shortly.
None.
50 seconds until the AA and a minute until the PA. So Duracho feels confident in being able to go for this all-in style push.
I've got Glyph, but it's a miracle hold. Gladiator is one fight away of getting some revenge when Talon knocked him out of Riyadh. Let's see what the combo is going to be. Oh, it's not on the mark. You tried to set up with the tornado. They're just going to go for the throne. Duracho might die to the Sunstrike. That's a big start. Makoto's putting in work in the defense. Ace will try and turn to Savage, but Q kicks him right next to the fountain. That is the damage they need to bring down the Primal Beast as well, and they have held. We are not done just yet. The Savage will also stop Celery from getting out of maybe Celery. Oh, Q, nice prediction. All right, it's able to catch up the Celery, so at least there will be a third member that does go down.
One of those members that did buy back previously. That's his dieback, even though it's up in another 5 or so seconds. But you could just see how anxious 23 Savage was there, not wanting to full on commit. He'd bought back himself, and he's going for a freaking E-Blade, man. He just wants that extra little bit of damage. They want 100 to 0 people with this Rupture Kick combination.
What is this game, dude? What is this game?
I'm happy that we're getting a close one.
Yes, today's been more one-sided. A lot of 2-0s. I don't know if this one is going to be a 2-0 as well. And they just... All right, let's see. What can you do, Talon?
If there was any time to buy out, this is it. I mean, Savage could look to get into that start of the E-Blade pretty soon, but really won't change too much of anything. Second lane of Rax going in their favor. So again, the lanes are passively just going to be helping them somewhat. It's just a matter of, can you afford to wait another 5 minutes? I don't think GG is going to give them that opportunity with Roshan potentially respawning right now. It's pretty quick. 45 seconds and they'll know it's around the top side of the map. Are we getting him? Are we getting the tier 5 items?
We may be. Some big items are nonetheless. With the Lincolns, late game Lincolns, 56 minutes in, both Duracho and Ace wanting to go down this route. So this could be just something that catches them by surprise on Talon to mess up a little bit of the spell casting. Have to keep an eye on those Lincolns inside these fights. 4 Lincolns,
what
dude.
allowed Quinn to be, that's what I was saying before, right? If it gets super late, doesn't matter how many ruptures you have if you're just able to Lincoln them constantly. At least it's not the old meta, right? When it was a Medusa with like 4 different Lincoln's buffs on her, you actually need to have an element of skill of being able to pop them. Tofu really wants to be able to deward this Observer, and he's making sure it's Duracho is the one that does it to not give away too much about their smoke.
Importantly, buybacks are there now. 2 members of Talon.
Not for Talon, though.
Jabs is on the front line. They're going to try and poke at the Bristleback to start. Blinding Light pushes him out of Ace's charge in the middle with an early BKB out of Jabs. It should be okay. Looks like that's all. Makoto's in.
Rolling Thunder's a big deal. And yeah, look at bottom.
Yeah.
It's pushing in. Someone's going to have to TP back. Do you have the shard on Coddle? You don't. So I want to see if we do see Tofu look to try and pick that one up just so that you can recall Quinn back to the fight if absolutely necessary. And they'll see first that Roshan is up.
I build on Savage is crazy. I know you brought up the Yasha and Kai before. He's got Timeless Relic.
Yep.
Very interesting.
All about
read.
that spell damage, man. Just let the Blood Raids, let the Shard and the Aghanim Scepter do the work.
Yeah, there's the Shard, and as Quinn re-delivered once again, Gladiators, such a power position for them on this high ground with the ward. It is very difficult for Talon to be able to break that. They're just going to have to wait for the lanes to get pushed in. That's the main thing. So they will have to go back eventually.
They've got scouting tools, right? Like you can use the hairball for it. They could use the Sunstrike for it. They could use the Forge Spirits for it. Lots of things, but you just got to be careful on Ollie in particular.
Just patience.
Don't put yourself too far forward. Yep.
Patience. That's it.
His middle tower is under
No glyph.
From Zoe, it is the road to TI. I just want to see them keep a Forge Spirit inside the pit.
And
They will.
All right. One person's back. Tarachi will TP. Of course, again, yes, with the Coddle.
attack.
They got the recall. And we got 40 seconds until potential tier 5 items, so not the worst place for GG to be holding up here, up on the top side. Then again, it is going to be moving down bottom in about 30 seconds, right? And you have to be very careful about that if you're Talon, right? Like, if you